Welcomes you back to the Pocono Raceway, where the drama is about to begin. 200 laps, 500 miles, 3 tricky turns, and the pressure of perfect pit stops. But at the finish, just one winner. It's race number 20 of the Winston Cup season, the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys. Now up to the booth, to Manny, Mo, and Jack.
Oh, fine, Weber. Thank you very much. I'm Manny, Alan Bestwick, along with Benny Parsons and Wally Dallenbach, set for the Pennsylvania 500. The focus in the opening laps will be on Dale Jarrett. Starting deep in the field, the man who leads the championship, tied in points with Jeff Gordon, has got to worry about problems in front of him.
He really does. 37th, not too good, folks. In qualifying, Dale Jarrett had a big slip, decided, hey, I've got a provisional, I'll start 37th and forget about it. I can work my way through the field. He caught a tough break this morning because there is some weather moving in. It may not run 500 miles. That also has to be a concern. Let's ask Wally Dallenbach. He started 43rd here just 6 weeks ago. What kind of problems does he have?
Thanks for pointing that out too, Benny. But yes, we did finish we started 43rd, and what happened was we had a very good race car, and we got up to 15th, but we still got caught up in that wreck, and that's what Dale is going to have to be concentrating on, is try to avoid this wreck right here.
See that big puff of smoke? Wally Dallenbach is somewhere in there, and you'll see the results of the crash. Not too bad, but it did injure the car a little bit.
So for Dale Jarrett, a fretful first few laps of this Pennsylvania 500. And let's talk about the racetrack itself. This is the most oddly shaped speedway in NASCAR, but that gives the teams fits trying to get the car handling and gives us great racing.
3 different straightaways, 3 different lengths, 3 corners, all banked differently. So everything is a compromise. The chassis setup is a compromise. The gear ratios, a compromise. They have to go to an overdrive transmission to go down this long front straightaway. So the drivers really do have their problems here trying to get through the compromise situation.
We're 2 pace laps away from the start of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. The starting lineup and the green flag is next on TNT. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Second time in 3 weeks, it's Todd Bodine who set the pace on Friday. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as the title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Let's have a look at the Walmart starting lineup for the Pennsylvania 500. Alongside Todd Bodine on the front row, Ricky Rudd, hottest driver the last 3 months. He won here 6 weeks ago. Row 2, it's Mark Martin, with more top 5s than any other driver here, but no Pocono win. Casey Atwood had his best finish of 2001 last week. He shares row 3 with Kevin Harvick. The 4th row, it's Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer, and Jeff Gordon topped 3 finishes in 7 of the last 10 races. Johnny Benson and Sterling Marlin share row number 5. Marlin leading the Dodge Boys so far this season. Back in row 6, Bobby Labonte swept both 1999 races here in Dale Earnhardt Jr. Tony Stewart's in the 7th row while he makes his final pace lap. Let's chat with him.
Tony Stewart, this is Benny Parsons up at TNT. Do you read me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right, Smoke, you're starting 13th. You got a plan?
Yeah, I got a bright green 18 car who's my teammate right in front of me, so probably sit here and take it easy the first couple laps, and Bobby's real good about knowing how to get to the front pretty quick, so we'll just probably try to follow him up through there.
Well, you want to cut. Bobby won both races in 1999. Is he going to let you win this one?
Well, we never let each other win, but, you know, I'll help him out if he's better than me today, and I'm sure he'll help me if I'm better than him today, but we got a good car, so we'll wait and see what happens.
Where's the toughest part of the racetrack for you, Tony?
The tracks, I couldn't exactly hear what you said, but I'm assuming you're asking about the racetrack. It looks like it's pretty good. You know, the only difference is yesterday they ran the ARCA race after our final practice, so you'll probably see everybody kind of take it easy first couple laps to make sure we get their rubber off the track and get our rubber on the track.
All right, Tony. Good luck to you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. We're trying to put on a good show today.
Tony Stewart starting in 13th position as we look at the final few drivers in the field for today's race. The big one that just came by, Dale Jarrett. Top 5 finishes in the last 10 Pocono races, but he starts in 37th spot. 2 drivers failed to qualify. Andy Hillenberg and Carl Long not in the field for today's race. Some storylines will follow throughout our coverage of this afternoon's competition, beginning with the race for the championship. You see where each of the 3 combatants starts. Gordon and Rudd up front, but Jarrett back in traffic as we've talked.
And the weather has to be a concern because some folks are talking about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Maybe that's not long enough to run 500 miles. Jarrett needs that 500 miles to get from the 37th spot up front.
Pocono has a reputation of being tough on drive lines. We may see some engine failures. We may see some drivetrains, some transmissions pop out of cars today.
Yeah, transmissions and gears are it's real important here because the guys shift. Some guys are shifting once or twice a lap. There's some even more. So I really have to be careful.
And the final storyline, will they go 5 wide into turn number 1? Never more prevalent than right now on the start. Full house on their feet. 200 laps, 500 miles of racing. Glad you're with us for the Pennsylvania 500 on TNT.
And they didn't let us down.
Squeezing into turn number 1. So far, everybody through okay. Look at Craven, 4 wide on the outside.
And we see Robbie Gordon as well, 4 wide. Page the 4 car, taking a 3 wide going in the tunnel corner where they've got to narrow down to at least 2 wide.
Rusty Wallace.
Now look at a fan out. There's Jeremy Mayfield about 4 wide on the inside.
Mayfield started back in 25th as Todd Bodine leads lap 1.
Rusty Wallace underneath the Brett Bodine automobile. John Andretti, Joe Nemechek, and here's Craven. Last time he was on the outside, 4 wide. This time he's on the inside, 3 wide.
Racing Andretti for 23rd spot into the 2nd corner. Look at all the momentum Craven lost there. Andretti by Nemechek to challenge on the outside. Up front, the leaders come off of turn number 3 of this triangular track. Todd Bodine brings into the stripe to begin lap number 3.
Oh, we got a spin. Elliott Sadler, the 21 car, has spun, and Buckshot Jones, 44, sitting up against the outside retaining wall.
Caution's out.
And Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, has taken the lead. If he can get back to the line to get those 5 bonus points.
Join in at every track to honor the memory of the late Dale Earnhardt. Crash in turn number 3, lap number 3. Buckshot Jones and Elliott Sadler. Here's what happened.
See the damage to Buckshot's car where he made contact with the wall. 21 car, Elliott Sadler.
Looks like he's going to get a lot of help there from 15. He was off the pace, yeah.
He might have been coming to pit road or slowing down for some reason.
And how did Jerry Nadeau miss him? How did he do that?
Poor Buckshot. Wrong place, wrong time. Buckshot involved in a crash here on Friday. This was his backup car, and now it's beaten up too.
And we see just a little damage to the right rear of the 21 car where Michael Waltrip, as you said, the 15 car ran in the back.
Dave Burns
And I'm monitoring the radio from Buckshot Jones. He says the steering is knocked out, so he wants to come back in and definitely check the toe. It's pulling to the left on him. They changed 2 tires when they were in here and have some damage, which they've got some tape patches for when he comes back in. But one thing they did tell him the first time he came in, speed down pit road. When you leave, speed down pit road. You'll get a penalty, but you'll be at the back of the line anyway. Alan?
Yeah, won't lose a lap to the pace car and the leaders that were coming up quickly on him. Dale Jarrett's got a wrinkle.
Someone has run in the back of the 88 car because I'm sure he was behind that crash.
But that's a good place to get hit if you're going to get hit right now. I mean, that's not going to affect his car at all.
It's time to take a look at your Pennsylvania 500 Pep Boys game pieces and match it against our current leaderboard. If you've scratched off Mo right there on the top of your card, you're an instant winner with one of many prizes. Grand prize is a NASCAR 3-race tour for 2 next season. Ricky Rudd now leads. Todd Bodine is second. Mark Martin is third. Jeff Gordon fourth. Ken Schrader fifth. Followed by Kevin Harvick, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bill Elliott, and Jimmy Spencer.
Go, go, go. Green flag.
Trying to get 6th from Kevin Harvick, while Harvick tries to get 5th from Ken Schrader.
And Harvick just drove up on the outside down in turn 1. I've been noticing the last couple of races here that turn 1 at Pocono, the high line, the high groove is working pretty doggone well. And check Harvick out, still trying to get that spot.
See how loose the 36 car got in front of Dale Earnhardt?
Here comes Spencer into the mix. And Dale Jr.
Oh, he's loose.
Oh, Schrader, look out. They got 3 wide off the corner.
Played into the inside. 4 deep.
And remember that 93 car. Remember Dave Blaney, the garage here this morning? That was the talk. Said he is really, really fast.
He's got to squeeze into turn 1. Elliott shoved up on the outside in the 9 car.
And Schrader has lost 6, 7 positions.
Jeff Gordon by Mark Martin to 3rd. That looked like a wave by. Mark saw Gordon was faster, pulled over, waved him on through.
Across the short chute. This is a corner coming up that most teams work on. This flat corner where they get down to about 135 miles per hour. That time 136. You need to come off this corner to go down a 3,700-foot straightaway. Critical position on the racetrack.
Yeah, you're right. You really need the car to be a little bit loose to there, because as soon as you start picking up the throttle, you need not to get off the throttle, or that's really going to hurt your straightaway speed. And the reason you get off the throttle is if the car was pushing up towards the wall and not turning.
Look at how quickly Gordon is closed in on Bodine and Rudd. A little farther back, Blaney picking up a spot. 8th position on Spencer. This is the race from 5th on back. Harvick in the 29, Dale Jr. in the 8th.
And Dale Jr. wants by. He's right on that back bumper. That's telling Kevin Harvick, look, man, I'm a little faster. Let me go. You're holding me up.
Spencer going to try the outside of Blaney.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Here goes Junior on the inside.
Harvick to block.
Blaney trying to go on the inside of all of them.
And Sterling Marlin. Second place. Jeff Gordon through. Now Rudd has already collected 5 bonus points toward the championship for leading the lap. Now Gordon can put some pressure on him to try and even that score.
Now this is the spot, the critical place on the racetrack. Who is best?
Looks like 24 car's a little bit better right there.
Just keep an eye on that temperature. Should be okay there.
Water temperature, always concerned. They want to put as much tape on the grill as they can, because air going through the grill to cool the water in the radiator slows the cars down. And Jeff Gordon likes this high line in 1 and 2. He likes that, and looks like he's going to take the lead, just like he did on Top Boat 9.
I can't do it. Gordon to the point. Third lead change. Matt Yoakum.
Alan, moments ago during that caution, Jeff Gordon reported in his water had climbed to about 230. Robbie Loomis said that's not too bad. During the next pit stop that we might pull some tape off the front to get a little more air in to cool off the water temperature. Jeff says the car is a little bit tight in all 3 corners, but turn 1's not too bad, he says.
Buckshot Jones is back on pit road for the 3rd time, while we stay under green, getting some more repairs made to his car.
See how Jeff comes off and lets that car drift up down in turn 1?
That's the interval from Jeff Gordon, the leader now, to Dale Jarrett, the man he's tied with in the championship. Gordon, the yellow dot on the graph, and Jarrett, the green one. Jarrett is running in 36th position, while Gordon is the leader. Jarrett's only picked up 3 spots since the restart. There's Dale. So he's just across turn 2, while Gordon's already off of turn 3. Front 4 have broken away from the rest of the field. Gordon, Rudd, Bodine, and Martin. 12 of 200 laps are complete as Gordon's crew chief Robbie Loomis looks on at Pocono. Back at Pocono Raceway, Jeff Gordon still leads the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. No change on the leaderboards. Ricky Rudd still about 5 car lengths behind Gordon. Here's our Craftsman Truck Series update. Next race for the trucks this coming week at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And what a championship fight they've got. Top 3 within 11 points as they head to Indy this week. NASCAR Busch Series update. Yesterday's race at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Jeff Purvis, driving for Richard Childress Racing, scored the win. Kevin Harvick from last to 3rd, protecting almost all of his championship lead as the Busch Series also gets set to head to Indianapolis Raceway Park this coming Saturday night. As far as his cross-country trip back to Pocono, Harvick running in 8th place right now in the early stages of the NASCAR Winston Cup race.
He's lost a couple of spots. Wally Dallenbach set his car up yesterday while he was in Pikes Peak, and we talked about just how much fun that was. And you're sitting there right now saying, man, I wish I was in that 29 car, aren't you?
Well, I hope he's having as much fun as I had yesterday. But really, the only problem we had with the car was over the tunnel turn. The car was very tight over there in turn 2. And early, that's what it looked like he was struggling with. But looked good that time.
It's been the last of the frequent flyer weeks in a while for Harvick as he attempts to run both the Winston Cup and Busch Series. Thursday, left his team's base in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, flying to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and then the drive up to the racetrack here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. After qualifying here Friday, hopped the helicopter to Allentown, the plane to Colorado Springs, drive down to the racetrack at Pikes Peak in Fountain, Colorado, up to 3,600 miles. Then reverse that trip to come back to Pocono for the race here this weekend. 4,115 miles without any of the 500 he'll drive in a race car today or 250 he did yesterday.
And he doesn't get frequent flyer miles either.
Yeah, but you know what? Those private jets are pretty cool.
They are.
I think I'd give up the frequent flyer miles for one of those too. Harvick fighting Bill Elliott in the 9. And also the 40 car of Sterling Marlin. A couple of Dodges running right there. And boy, have they been in the news the last couple of days here at Pocono.
New rule change announced on Friday. They're going to allow the Dodges to kick the nose of their cars out on the very bottom of the bumper 2 inches. Trying to get that nose out so they can get some more air on it and create downforce for the Dodges. They feel like that they just aren't racing as well as they're able to qualify and practice, and that would help them. The rule change goes into effect for the Brickyard 400.
And none of the Ford teams or Pontiac teams, or for that matter, Chevy teams, were very happy to hear about that change. Marty.
And guys, as soon as the rule change came out, there was a big panic to find wind tunnel time, as you might imagine. Dodge themselves, the manufacturer, booked Tuesday at Lockheed Wind Tunnel in Atlanta. They're going to try to shuttle as many teams in and out as they can. One team that will definitely be there is Sterling Marlin's team. They want to take the car that they're running here this weekend, put the new nose on it tomorrow, test it in the wind tunnel on Tuesday, set it up at the shop Wednesday to go to Indianapolis for Thursday. They have a busy week planned for Sterling Marlin's teams, and a lot of these Dodge teams desperately trying to get to the wind tunnel to find out how much this 2 inches will help.
Pressure beginning to build on the Dodge teams. Here we are halfway through the season. They won the pole first time out of the box for the Daytona 500 in February, but nobody's won a race yet. Pressure starting to build?
I would think so. Again, we'll just have to see how they do today, and if they're competitive today, which the 93 car they're talking about is very competitive, if they're able to do that and go to Brickyard, they would have a real good chance of winning the race.
You can counterbalance that against the fact that to be competitive with a new car and a new engine in your first half season on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit, it's a tall order to ask. So some folks say yes, some folks say no. They haven't done any worse than should be expected at this time. We'll see. Dave Blaney in his Dodge, racing Dale Jr. for 5th spot. Jr.'s up the hill in 1.
And right here, coming out of turn 1, really, usually if you're down on the bottom, going into turn 2, that's the preferred line. But you have to get beside the guy once you get out of turn 1.
Blaney's been driving back and forth from the track here in Pocono, about 2 hours south of here, to a dirt track in Williams Grove, Pennsylvania, where his brother Dale has been driving a World of Outlaws sprint car. Thursday night, Friday night, team that Dave owns, rather.
Last time, Blaine in the 93 car was able to close up on Dale Jr.
That's an odd-looking line off the corner.
I don't know what that's all about.
Has he got a problem?
Unless he's overheating.
Clear. Blaney's falling off. That sounds like you lost a cylinder. You're all clear.
No.
Spencer by.
That was Ty Norris, one of the spotters, telling Dale Jr. that Blaney had fallen back, not to worry about him, that he might have lost a cylinder.
We'll get an update on what's going on with Dave Blaney here in just a minute. He's down on pit road, but he's just lost the spot to Jimmy Spencer, and on these long straightaways here at Pocono, if you're down a cylinder in the engine, it's going to be a tough day.
Winston, way early too. I never even hit the rim with her. We probably go down in the right front, or last time we was here, around down on the track bar helped out. Just think about that.
I'm not sure he just didn't lose it or had to catch it off the 3 and just lost a lot of time. It looks like he's running fine now.
Got no pressure.
No, he's gone.
We'll get a caution here. We can look at it.
Matt, what's going on?
Well, the report is, Alan, he has lost a cylinder. We'll talk to Doug Randolph, his crew chief. What's he saying about the car?
I think we've lost a cylinder right now. You know, this place really puts the motors to a test. We got really good motor program, but I think we might have pushed it. Maybe we can get in here and under caution see if we got a problem. We can get it fixed.
I spoke to legendary engine builder Ernie Elliott this morning. That was his biggest concern, turning too many RPMs here at Pocono with this long 3,700-foot long straightaway.
And we called one of our storylines at the top of the show, drive lines and transmissions and engines and all the rest.
And really, you're not turning the most RPMs going into turn 1. Where you're turning the most RPMs is going into the tunnel turn in 3rd gear. That's where you see the highest RPMs.
But third gear in this situation being 1-to-1. Your transmission home, 3rd is where you're in a 4-speed, where 4th would be, or in a 3-speed, where 3rd would be. These guys use them. They're only allowed 4 forward gears. They choose to run an overdrive in the 4th position.
I was talking with Joe Gibbs this morning, and he was relating how the tires here at Pocono, this new generation Goodyear that they've brought, are contributing to the difficulties on the drive lines because they don't lose any speed on the tire. You go out there and you run a 55-50, and you'll stay pretty close to that 55-50 for 20 laps instead of slowing down.
This tire has proven to be very, very consistent.
So Blaney falling back. He's going to be back now to 14th position after Robert Presley in the 77 goes by. Jeff Gordon still out in front of the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Let's check out TNT's original James Dean.
His talent made him a star. His death would make him a legend. James Dean, coming to TNT.
It's the world premiere of James Dean, Sunday, August 5th at 8 p.m. on TNT. Dale Jarrett tried to pick his way back up through traffic. He restarted 39th after the skirmish earlier at lap number 4. Jarrett is now up to 26th position. Let's ride with him.
See, he grabbed high gear right there, going down into turn 1. He'll downshift here. Now, depending on how he's got his gearbox set up, he'll keep it third till he gets right back out of 3 again on the straightaway.
He'll pass Jeremy Mayfield for 25th.
Check out our telemetry as he goes down the backstretch. 8,000.
Little wave of thank you to Jeremy for letting him pass.
Almost 9,000 RPMs. And as Wally said, that's the place they're probably going to turn more RPMs. We saw Jeff Gordon through this third corner down to 136 miles per hour. We'll check DJ, see what kind of miles per hour he gets down to. 128 miles per hour. If Jeff Gordon is still getting through there that fast, that's a huge advantage for him. Here he goes down the front. 8,000. Shift.
634. Leader of 30.
Lap time from Todd Parrott. You see the red dot there showing you where he is on the track, lower right on the graphic.
And Benny, you pointed out that was 9,000 going into turn 2, but that was also making a pass around Jeremy. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a little bit more RPMs, having a clean lap.
There is a pretty stiff breeze. I don't know if they're getting any help down the back or not. 9,000.
He's rolling out of it, though. It looks like he's rolling out of the throttle a little bit early.
Let's get more on Dale Jarrett's race as it stands right now from Dave Burns.
Well, Alan, he's climbed up to 24th from that 37th provisional spot where he started. The car has been loose, and Jarrett's been complaining of no grip off the corners. He also wanted to know where guys were running, if guys were running down in turn 1 and the low line. And the spotter told him that both Ricky Rudd and Billy Elliott were running the low line. So he's looking for a place to run his car fast. Right now, they're not getting it done. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
22 laps ago, we told you that Jeff Gordon's car was tight and his water temperature climbed to 230. Now Gordon is reporting in his car is a lot better over this run, and also the water temperature has dropped to 210. The biggest reason because Jay Wiles, the engine tuner for this team, jumped up on the pit wall when Gordon said the car was hot. He took out some binoculars, saw there's a piece of paper on the grill, so he closed up behind the 28 car of Ricky Rudd. Because there wasn't as much air pressure on the grill, the piece of paper fell off to Bill.
Very calm here in Ricky Rudd's pit. Crew Chief Michael McSwain and company working with Rudd on the radio on a car that is loose. And Ricky says it gets looser and looser and looser as they go along. But no major worries here. Very confident in the position and condition of the car. It's the same car that Rudd drove to victory lane here just 41 days ago. To Marty.
Well, Bill, the fact that pole sitter Todd Bodine is still running third, I think, is a big surprise to these guys because they were drunk in happy hour. So what they did, they went back to Saturday morning setup, and it's worked out pretty good. This is a critical race for Todd. They have 7 top 10 starts this year, but only 1 top 10 finish. And so far for our pole sitter, so good. Pretty good run for him. He's running in third.
Yeah, Todd's problems the last couple of weeks have been getting spun out. He got hit and spun last week at New Hampshire when he was running well. A couple of weeks ago at Chicago, he spun out twice. Actually, both of those were all by himself, but I was kidding with him this morning. I said, you know, it'll be a good day if you're just facing the right direction all day.
You saw the graphic, just 8 laps before some cars are going to have to pit. And the DEI cars, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Steve Park, Michael Waltrip, amongst the cars whose fuel mileage right now are really suffering compared to the competition. They can run 36, 38 laps. Some of the other cars can run up to 42, 43 laps.
Only 1 caution so far in the race. It came out at lap 4 when Elliott Sadler and Buckshot Jones were involved in a spin off of turn number 3. We'll break here and come back for the pit stops. After this, you're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back at Pocono, Jeff Gordon continues to lead the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. He's up by 3.5 seconds on Ricky Rudd, the second-place car. Look at this.
Wow.
Led 1,000 more laps this season than he had last season. Gordon has led the most laps in 5 of the last 7 races. Marty?
And Bill Elliott is in. He came in running in the top 5 cars. Very good for Bill. They made no adjustments, and it was a 4-tire stop. Very routine for Bill Elliott, and very happy with his car.
Casey Atwood, Jeremy Mayfield, also on pit road. Stacy Compton is on pit road. And these guys all going to be overtaken by leader Jeff Gordon and put a lap down. So they need the green to stay out until Gordon makes his pit stop so they can get back on the lead lap.
They were far enough behind Jeff Gordon. They made their pit stop, and they were not able to stay on the lead lap. You know, right now, probably Ricky Rudd, Todd Bodine, and Mark Martin, about the only drivers that can safely make a pit stop, change 4 tires, and Jeff Gordon would not lap them.
Yeah, Bill Elliott did stay in front of Gordon, so he's still on the lead lap. He was 5th when he came down pit road. That's kind of a double whammy. You're getting less fuel mileage than the leader, and your car's not handling as well. Ron Hornaday, Robbie Gordon making green flag pit stops as Gordon continues by for another lap. This will be 35 for him.
We're ready for you, buddy. Be ready this time, buddy.
There's the difference between Gordon and Rudd on the track.
And there's the separation. Almost 4 seconds, 3.9. And Jarrett is 24 seconds behind. We see Jarrett just now coming off flat, turn 3. Gordon is going down the backstretch.
Todd Bodine, 3rd place on pit road. Marty?
Indeed, Todd Bodine is Alan. A little tight for Todd Bodine. They took a ½ pound out of the right front tire. They're putting those tires on now. It will be a 4-tire stop for Todd Bodine. Again, we said they're very happy with the car. They did not expect to run this well. Right behind Todd Bodine, Tony Stewart has come into the pits. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Stewart as well. His car is a little bit loose. They think they miscalculated the weather today. They think it's a little bit cooler than they thought it would be today. They made a track car adjustment and took 1 pound out of the right rear for Tony Stewart, who's back out on the racetrack.
See Kevin Harvick coming off pit road. John Andretti is out, and here's the leader in. Jeff Gordon stops. Mark Martin takes the lead. And we go to Matt Yoakum to cover the Jeff Gordon stop.
And the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, makes his way to his pit box on lap 35, his first scheduled pit stop. We told you earlier that Gordon was complaining about his car being tight in all 3 corners. Steve Letarte does make a wedge adjustment. They come around the left side of the car to Bill Weber.
Smooth stop for Ricky Rudd. 4 tires and fuel. He's loose. They're trying to correct that with air pressure.
Oh, Gordon almost gets into Sterling Marlin as he makes a pit stop.
Dale Jr., Johnny Benson. Let's cover the Dale Jr. stop.
And Jr. is in, Alan, a little bit loose, down 1 round on the track bar, 4-tire stop, and a pretty quick one for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Mark Martin's the race leader. Bobby Labonte, Ken Schrader, they both have not stopped yet. They'll be 2nd and 3rd pending their pit stops. You see Ward Burton leaving. It's Jason Leffler coming at you. And Michael Waltrip. Kyle Petty also in on pit road. And behind him come Bobby Labonte and Ken Schrader. There's Bobby. He's her lap 37. Rusty Wallace, Ricky Craven, and Robert Presley following him down pit road. Martin.
And Alan, they did have a problem a little bit earlier. We were talking about that, I think, off the air, but they fell back at the start of the race. Bobby had the brakes misadjusted inside the car. He had the adjuster calculated wrong inside of his car. Pretty happy with the car, though, right now. It will be a 4-tire stop for Bobby Labonte. They do make a right side adjustment. Let's go to Bill Weber.
Rusty Wallace, very tight. His car is very tight. Track bar adjustment. He wants the windshield clean. They also pull the rubber out of the right rear.
Mark Martin continues to hold the lead. He's just gone by these cars on the racetrack, so Mark is still out in front.
One reason that these cars would pit early, I said some of these cars could go 40 laps, and some of the cars that pitted could probably run 40, 42 laps, but you cannot, I repeat, run out of fuel here at Pocono, because if you do it, at the wrong spot. For instance, down the front straightaway, you cannot coast all the way back to pit road. You'll sit out there till they send a truck to push you back.
And that won't be till you're at least a lap down, just by the time the pace car picks up the field and all the rest. Wally, they talked about Bobby Labonte having the brakes adjusted wrong from inside the cockpit of the car. Talk about that.
Okay, well, if he was loose, he was probably trying to put front brake in the car, and he may have gone the wrong way, and it made it more loose.
They have an adjustment, a brake bias dial that the driver can work from inside the cockpit.
Right, and it either gives you more front brake or rear brake depending on how you turn it.
Here's Mark Martin, the race leader, coming in. Bill Weber.
Mark Martin on pit road had to dodge the 7. This is a huge pit stop for these guys. They have a temporary rear tire changer because Sean Parker is not here today. Todd Ziegler working the rear tires, normally changes the front tires on Jeff Burton's Busch car. Looks like it's
Dave Burns.
Steve Park is in. The car was loose. Paul Andrews, the crew chief, said we will make a wedge adjustment. The wrench is in the car. They make that in a 4-tire change for Steve.
Jeff Burton has yet to make a pit stop. Matt Kenseth and Dale Jarrett also have not come in. And remember, Jarrett was in under the caution flag earlier in the race back at lap 4. So he's got lap 5 rather. So he's got a couple of extra laps that he can run. Bill talked about a new rear tire changer. Sean Parker is the chief mechanic, the car chief for Mark Martin's team. His wife Tara has been in a hospital in Winston-Salem, North Carolina for a number of weeks now, awaiting a heart transplant. The other day, the phone rang at 4 a.m. up here in Pocono, telling Sean that a donor had become available. Jack Roush personally flew Sean back to the hospital. I talked with Jimmy Fettig, Mark Martin's crew chief, this morning. He said the word from Sean is the operation went very well. Tara's doing fine, all things considered, in a transplant situation, and that's very good news. And we're all thinking about Sean and Tara.
Oh, we sure are. In the next 12, 24 hours, the critical hours to see if the body accepts the new heart.
We sure wish them well.
It's a battle between Mark Martin and Bill Elliott.
That's for 7th spot right now. Jeff Burton's the leader. Dale Jarrett is 2nd. Matt Kenseth is 3rd. Then the cars that have already pitted. You'll have Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Todd Bodine, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Bobby Hamilton, who also hasn't stopped yet. Leader Jeff Burton in. Matt Yoakum.
Crew Chief Frank Stoddard is calling his driver and car, Jeff Burton, down pit road. Frank told me that Jeff was reporting in. His car was a little bit loose, so they are going to make a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. You can see the winch go in the back windows. They make the adjustment. They come around to the left side of the car. Mark Hollywood Armstrong pulling off that left front tire. A little bit of trouble on the left rear, and Burton is down and away, 17.1 seconds.
A lug nut fell off. 5 lug nuts are glued to the wheel. Hollywood stuck the tire up there, and one of them fell off. He had to reach on the ground, pick up a nut, and stick it on the stud. That cost him about 2 seconds.
Dale Jarrett has evened the score. He has just led a lap before coming to pit road for this stop. That's 5 bonus points for the championship, equaling those collected earlier in the race by Rudd and Gordon. Dave?
And the word from Todd Parrott was, let's wait till everyone else around us pits. Steve Park behind and Robbie Gordon in front, both pitted. So now they have a clear shot on pit road. They talked about making a chassis adjustment to fix the loose situation, but they didn't want to make it tight in the corner, in the middle of the corner. That's a great stop for Dale Jarrett.
And Jarrett stopping puts Jeff Gordon into the lead. So bonus points, even. Now we'll see where Jarrett shakes out after he gets up to speed off pit road, as far as running position is concerned. There's Jeff Gordon, the leader. 1.5 seconds up on Ricky Rudd. Things pretty much status quo after the green flag stops.
We talked about Ricky Rudd's car being just a little bit loose in that first run. I talked to Ricky Friday about how well his car ran here 6 weeks ago, and he said we were lucky to win the race because when I started the race, my car was very, very loose, but Michael McSwain, the crew chief, worked on it, and when the race was over, I had a car that was unbeatable, but they had those able to make pit stops and make adjustments. We'll see if that same thing happens again today.
Cars that have been put a lap down through the shuffle of pit stops. You saw Jeff Gordon pass Rick Mast, who is driving that yellow 27 car this week. Brett Bodine, Stacy Compton, also a lap down. And you've got Buckshot Jones, who is a number of laps down after being involved in the crash back at lap number 4.
You know, sounds like there's a lot of cars loose. And normally, after they have the ARCA race, and we go out for a practice, everybody is loose until that rubber gets worked off the racetrack. And I'm just wondering, since they haven't had a practice since the ARCA race, if that isn't a lot of what these guys are experiencing right now.
What about the weather change from yesterday, too? Cloudy and overcast, cooler today?
I don't know. Normally, I don't think that would affect this place as much at Pocono.
Look at our pit summary after the round of green flag stops that have occurred within the last 10 circuits of this race. And you'll find that not too much has changed for the leaders. Earnhardt Jr. dropping 1 spot. Bill Elliott gaining that 1. Bill Elliott is into 5th. A little deeper in. There's Elliott moving up. Benson and Spencer swapping a spot. And Sterling Marlin losing a couple on the exchange of pit stops. Ricky Rudd falling back from Jeff Gordon. Rudd in 2nd spot. Bill, what's going on there?
Well, Alan, a couple of laps ago, in turn 2, in-lap traffic, Ricky got shoved down to the inside and had to run through some of the rubber and some of the marbles that built up on the racetrack. He got that on his tires, and he thought maybe that he might have a tire going down. They told him to feel it out. They looked at it from pit road. The spotters looked at the right side. They don't believe the tire's going down, but he did have to clear his tires, clean them up a little bit. That cost him some time on the track. He has looked back a little bit. Now he says things seem to be okay.
You know, Ricky Rudd's right front is still hitting going down in turn 1. In June, as he would brake going down the corner and downshift, the tire would touch the right front fender. It looks like it's still doing it here 6 weeks later. But again, we said they didn't change very much. They had a car that was that fast and won the race. You're not going to make a lot of changes, and obviously they haven't.
Let's go back a minute ago to when Jeff Burton was on pit road. He came in as the race leader through the cycle of green flag stops, and we watched the front tires have a little problem. Mark Armstrong.
Yeah, here's what I noticed. You watch him drop the lug nut, and then watch when it looks like he gets it back on, but right there, it falls off again. Now, I don't know where that came from, but it certainly came off the wheel somewhere.
There are 3 or 4 lug nuts laying on the ground there, and you can't say positively from here whether it was one of the old lug nuts that just was hung up in the brake rotor when he put the new tire on, or if it was one of the ones that was supposed to go on the car.
Well, there was a NASCAR inspector standing right there, so he had a better shot of it than we did.
Yeah. So Burton's back out in 19th position, just behind Dale Jarrett, who's moved up to 18th.
And there's Rusty Wallace behind these guys in 20th position. And here's a guy who won this race last year, but is really struggling trying to find the combination to get in around the Pocono Raceway.
Right there, he's tight. If you heard the throttle there, if you got to get out of the gas coming through that tunnel turn, it's because it's not turning. The car will not turn.
Looking ahead at Dale Jarrett, a couple of cars out front of Rusty Wallace. Let's get an update on his progress from Dave.
Everything looks good on the tires, Alan. The thing we wanted to point out to you is when people see the pit stops, a lot of dust comes out of the front brake rotors. In fact, it's covered with them here. You can see the contrast here. He has a lot of carbon dust from the brakes. He uses a lot of brakes here. In fact, everyone does. So the ducting of these brakes this weekend has been one of the discussions. And DJ, in some cases, has a Y on the ducting that gives him both fresh air or air from a fan if he is caught in traffic. So right now everything's okay, but they do use a lot of brake here at Pocono.
Jarrett was 23rd before the pit stop started. He's working on John Andretti for 17th.
I think they've made that car better. The UPS car, talking about Jarrett's car, as he goes by Andretti. Jeff Burton says, okay, DJ, you make the hole. I'll just follow right on through there. until both those cars goes by Andretti, and we can see that they're driving away from Rusty Wallace.
And certainly Jarrett's car not feeling any ill effects from the bumped-in back bumper in the lap 4 scramble off the corner.
And you saw he's 27 seconds behind Jeff Gordon right now.
Matt Kenseth next ahead for Jarrett. White, black, and yellow car. Kenseth running in 16th position. Has he survived the worst of it? The field is strung out. We've been through a set of green flag pit stops.
Absolutely. Because normally when you get in the wreck, it's either after the start of the race or a restart when everybody's bunched up. So everybody's strung out enough to where if somebody does get in trouble in front of you or a couple cars, you've got enough time and options to move around.
That's if we don't get a caution that punches the field back up again before Jarrett moves farther to the front. Bill Elliott trying to get fourth from Todd Bodine.
And does it with ease. Drives down to the inside. Not a lot of resistance from Todd Bodine.
So Elliott moving closer to the front in pursuit of what would be a win, his first since 1994. Jeff Gordon leads. Coming to TNT this August, it's Glory's last shot. Two-time defending champion Tiger Woods looks to defend his title at the 83rd PGA Championship from the Atlanta Athletic Club. Jeff Gordon still the leader of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. He's an even 3 seconds up on Ricky Rudd. Let's go to Liz Allison.
The big guys are out on the track doing some racing. I've got some little guys back here doing some racing too. This little racetrack back here was actually built in 1996 by the Mattiolis who own the speedway here, and it is designed just like the Pocono Raceway. And you know, I think maybe NASCAR.com should do a survey on who's going to win this race.
Uh-oh, it's a wreck. Had a crash. You see that?
Crash and burn. Marty.
Well, Liz, you talk about those little guys who are back there racing all the time. There's a little dirt track outside the racetrack here. And on Friday night, Tyler Labonte made his first ever official race start. And he finished fourth. He did a good job. Now, in his defense, he was running second when he took the white flag, dove it into turn one a little hard, washed up. 2 kids passed him, and he finished fourth. But as Father Bobby put it, the bug has already been set. And Grandpa Bob's got a lot of work ahead of him for about the next 10, 15 years.
7-year-old Tyler Labonte.
And a lot of work it is. I have 2 boys that race quarter midgets, Jake and Wyatt, and it is a lot of work, emotionally and physically.
But you love it.
I do.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. Bobby having a good race for himself here today. He's in the 8th position now. Moved up a few spots from the start.
That's the good thing. The bad thing, he's 16 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. Which is about a third of a lap.
Yeah, Gordon's setting a little bit of a brisk pace here. Riding off into the sunset is what he's doing right now.
And getting good fuel mileage to boot.
Yeah. For Bobby Labonte, Pocono, a track that he hated for the first about 2/3 of his Winston Cup career. His first 11 races here, no top 10 finishes, but he's got 5 in the last 6 races, including a couple of wins. There's the distance from Gordon to Rudd.
See, Ricky Rudd almost 4 seconds behind Jeff Gordon.
Mark Martin still 3rd, Bill Elliott 4th, Todd Bodine 5th. Then you've got Spencer, Earnhardt, Bobby Labonte, Benson, and Ward Burton. Great run from Ward. Started 34th, he's up to 10th. There's a look back at the interval from Gordon to Ricky Rudd. Gordon starting to put some cars a lap down. Bobby Hamilton, Robbie Gordon, Mike Wallace, Kyle Petty. There's Kevin LePage, 32nd place car, going a lap down. We got Ron Hornaday, Elliott Sadler, Brett Bodine, Dave Blaney, Stacy Compton, also 1 lap down the leader. Buckshot Jones is 15 laps down after some time behind the wall for crash damage repairs.
That's a tough break for Dave Blaney because they really had high hopes for today, and I'm afraid he's going to think I jinxed him because I kept going by and said, okay, Blaney, it's the day today. You're going to win. And finally he said, don't jinx me like that. Now he goes out, something happens to the cylinder right away. He'll not be happy with me, I don't imagine.
Race for the championship. Jarrett's moving up. Remember, all three have led a lap today, so the bonus points on the day so far are equal. Though Gordon's, he's pretty quickly working on collecting those extra points for leading the most laps. And you know who I feel good most about for Jeff's success this year is Robbie Loomis, his crew chief. You want to talk about a man who stepped into a pressure cooker last year when he took over for Ray Evernham after all the success that Jeff and Ray had together, and things didn't go very well right off the start.
Well, we saw the stat just a moment ago. Last year, Jeff Gordon all year led 425 laps. This year, they've led now almost 1,450 laps. So, yeah, last year was not a stellar year for Jeff Gordon.
But it's been a solid one so far. Take a look now in the upper right corner of our Pennsylvania 500 Pep Boys leaderboard. If you've scratched off Manny on your game piece, you're an instant winner of one of many prizes. Grand prize, a NASCAR 3-race tour for 2 next season.
Welcome back to the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania as the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys continues. A huge sporting event here this afternoon. A unique track and certainly a unique infield and grandstand here. And next weekend, the NASCAR Winston Cup and Busch Series both race at Indianapolis. It'll be Bud Pole qualifying Saturday at 11 a.m. on TNT and the NASCAR final practice on CNN Sports Illustrated next weekend from Indianapolis. The Busch Series will be racing Saturday night, 8 o'clock on TNT, and then Sunday afternoon at 2 Eastern Time, the Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's check out the stories on pit road, beginning with Dave Burns.
Bill Ward-Burton only qualified 34th. They thought they might have had a motor going bad, and he has charged from 34th up to the 10th place. The car is a little bit tight going into the corner, a little bit loose coming off, and that's a condition they hope will fix itself. He also radioed in to say he's very good in the tunnel turn now, which is something they were working on all weekend. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Well, and Dave, there's a developing problem for our pole sitter, Todd Bodine. He said he is feeling a vibration in the transmission. I asked crew chief Larry Carter if he knew which gear the car was in. He said, I don't know. I'm afraid to ask right now. They don't know if he's running in 3rd or 4th right now. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Marty, a problem has developed on the leader's car, Jeff Gordon. The fuel pressure gauge is filling up with fuel. Robbie, what's wrong with your gauge?
Well, the fuel pressure gauge is act up. You know, Pocono sometimes comes down to fuel mileage. It's just real hard. You have to get a good reading on it. We're just going to have to work with Brian Weissman real close on his fuel mileage and stuff. We'll see what happens.
Is the gauge leaking at all?
The gauge is not leaking, no, in the car. It's just, like I said, it's a problem with it fluctuating real bad.
And Jeff says it has filled up a little bit with fuel, but it is not leaking at this point. Jay Wiles, the engine specialist, does have a new fuel pressure gauge that if they do get a caution, they will try to change that. But at this point, they're just hanging on to see what happens.
I doubt very seriously they know about how many laps they can run on fuel, and changing the fuel pressure gauge would take quite a bit of time. So I'm not sure which one of these gauges. Probably the one over here would be the fuel pressure gauge, and it is.
Yeah, it's hard to read, but you're right. There's no way you'd want to stop changing fuel pressure gauge to take you right out of the race.
But usually when the fuel pressure gauge starts fluctuating, that means that you're out of fuel, that you're running out. But they obviously know that's not the case.
And they know about how many laps they can go. So to be safe, they would just come in a lap or two early if they had to rely on that.
They pitted at lap 36 last time. We've almost run another 36-lap segment, so we're going to begin to see some green flag pit stops here shortly for all the front runners. And if you're Jeff Gordon, you figure you could go 40 laps this time just to be safe. Maybe you come in at 38.
Exactly right. If you don't trust your fuel pressure gauge, then you'd have to do something like that.
How strong has Gordon been the last 2 months? Wow.
Now, Jeff is shifting in between turn 1 and 2, where Dale Jarrett was not.
That's right. There he goes back into 3rd gear, which, folks, once again, overdrive transmission. This is 1-to-1, and there we see Bobby Labonte trying to get by the 8th car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. That would be the battle for the 5th position, and there's Jimmy Spencer. Spencer had that spot, and both Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte have gotten by him.
And Todd Bodine has fallen back to 8th behind all of these cars. Gordon, Rudd, Martin, Elliott, and Earnhardt Jr. are the top 5. It's the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Pit stops coming up when we come back to Pocono on TNT. Back at Pocono, second caution is out in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Oil on the track, most likely from this car.
And, you know, that spoiled Jeff Gordon's little party. He was having him a fine time out there, a garden party. But his teammate, Terry Labonte, tried to pull off the racetrack to get out of harm's way. But NASCAR felt like, well, maybe there was some oil out there. They better check the racetrack out. Terry tried his best to help his teammate out, but NASCAR didn't quite bite.
So the safety worker is going to push Terry out where he can get a lift back to the garage area from the tow truck, and the pace car has picked up the field. And we'll see some pit stops under caution this time instead of under the green. Only other yellow of the race, lap 4. Buckshot Jones and Elliott Sadler involved in a crash off turn number 3.
Joe Nemechek, Casey Atwood.
These guys are all hustling to catch up to the pace car.
Michael Waltrip. Be careful, boys, because the field is 65 miles per hour on the backstretch, and we realize you're running about 180 right now. But their spotter will warn them when they start catching that slower traffic. There's Tony Stewart has caught them. Tell you what, they're going to make some changes on that 2 car on this pit stop, I'd almost guarantee.
Well, you know, Bill was talking about the spring rubber. You know, Bill Weber had the spring rubber taken out of the right rear. Sometimes when you stiffen up that right rear, it keeps the spoiler up in the air, which makes the car tighter. So they probably were hoping it would loosen it up from the middle off, but actually tighten the car up.
Stops will be as the leaders complete the 70th lap. And it'll be Gordon, Rudd, Martin, Elliott, and Earnhardt Jr. the top 5 in, followed by Bobby Labonte, Jimmy Spencer, Todd Bodine, Johnny Benson, and Ward Burton. Rusty's back in 19th position. And Dale Jarrett continues to move up. He's in 13th spot coming to this set of stops. So here we go. Let's go to Dave.
And Dale Jarrett is in for a 4-tire change. They're going to completely reverse the chassis adjustment they made last time. And let's go up pit road to Bill Weber.
Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin all on pit road along with everybody else. Rudd needs more grip. They're going to try and correct that with air pressure. A track bar adjustment for Mark Martin, who is loose in turn 1, but tight in turns 2 and 3. Both teams have good stops.
Jeff Gordon calling for a wedge adjustment. His car was a little bit loose in all 3 corners. He's down and away. Will he beat the 28 off pit road? It does not look like it. No air pressure adjustment for the 24, so Marty Steiner.
And Bill Elliott came in. He was a little tight in to fix that. They took a half-pound out of the right front, a little loose off to fix that. Down on the track bar 1 round. He came in running 4th. A great stop for these guys.
And Ricky Rudd pulled out like he thought he won that battle off pit road.
Last week we saw ups and downs for Ricky Rudd's crew. They got him the lead on a stop at New Hampshire. Then the Jackman slipped and fell, and they lost some spots. There it is.
Hey, he won, no doubt about it. There's the line. This line, how they cross that line will tell them how they're going to restart this race.
Dale Jr. out 3rd. So Ricky Rudd is the new leader. The Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Back at Pocono, cleanup continuing after Terry Labonte's car apparently dropped some oil on the track. Here's our pit summary. Mark Martin losing a couple spots, but the key one, the top 2. Key ones.
Key ones, yes. Jeff Gordon lost a spot. Ricky Rudd gained 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves into the 3rd spot.
Rudd's crew pretty pleased by their performance.
Yes, yes, atta boy. They can get pumped, can't they?
Boy, John. It's John Bryan, the Jackman, on the team. Back for the restart at Pocono. Will they get 5 wide on the restart, like Wally talked about at the top of the show?
Okay, you can't pass to the left until you go past the line. But now you can. Mike Walsh drives out. Here comes Mark Martin. And there's him 5-4 wide. Going in 1 is Kevin Harvick. Well, that's the Blaney car, 93. Gordon is back in the lead. He gets by Rudd. Here's Dale Jr. going by Rudd.
Mike Wallace trying to squeeze to the inside. Mike's a lap down. 32nd place.
Bill Elliott alongside Bobby Labonte. The Square D car, 55, is a lap down.
There's Bobby Hamilton. Bobby Labonte right behind them.
Check him out. As they go in the corner, as we're changing that for camera angle, the 24 car is first, Dale Jr. second, and Ricky Rudd is third. Down the backstretch. All of them up to 180. Jeff Gordon in the corner, 190 miles per hour. Dale Jr. Rudd. The 4 car, Kevin LePage, still in front of Jeff Gordon. Here comes Gordon. He has position.
Kevin in 30th place, trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Didn't work.
Jeff Gordon goes through the corner at 135. Dale Jr., the Bud car, is right there.
There's Dale Jr. clearing the lap traffic. Man, Gordon, he was shot out of a cannon there on that restart. Spencer stepping out on that high line in turn 1. Wow.
And Ricky Rudd, we see him back there. Mark Martin, where's Rudd?
He's in third.
There he is. Sorry, I missed him that time by.
Ricky losing a couple of positions quickly on the restart, but now settling in. Could that be one of those didn't have the tires cleaned off?
I think that was more positioning. I think he went in a turn 2, the tunnel turn on the outside, and Little Lee took advantage of that and got on the inside.
Little Lee's going way wide. Turn 1.
Pocono's never been Little Lee's best track, Alan, but they are very happy right now. Got a little help from his pit crew on that last stop. 14.36 on that pit stop. The car very good on these short runs. Gets a little tight the longer he runs, but they are very happy down here in the Budweiser pits.
Let's go back and look at how Jeff Gordon got the lead away from Ricky Rudd. Follow up on discussion Wally and I were having a second ago. It's already happened here.
It's already happened, yeah.
That's Jeff Gordon passing Kevin LePage to put him a lap down.
And Ricky Rudd is back in third position.
So Gordon out in front for the third time today. He's led 58 of the 77 laps that we've run so far. Rudd, Martin, Todd Bodine, Dale Jarrett, and Jeff Burton are the other drivers who've led at least one lap. Dale Jr. here at Pocono, he's got a pretty solid record. His worst qualifying ever was 15th place. And he's got finishes of 19th, 13th, and 20th. And for a racetrack, I think you'll agree with me, Wally, that's very difficult for somebody to learn the first couple times out. That's not bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of rookies come here, and they do struggle until they get some races under the belt here. And it's a tough racetrack because you can't get the car perfect here ever. So you really have to drive the car differently through each corner here because each corner is so different. So but it is a fun racetrack to drive.
Talked to Junior down in the garage on Friday morning here at Pocono. Said, you having any fun lately? He said, driving this race car. It's been a lot of fun lately. Had some troubles qualifying the last few weeks, but they may get the award for passing the most cars over the last several races. He started 36th and finished 11th in the Chicagoland race 2 weeks ago. Last weekend in New Hampshire, he started 29th and he finished 9th. On a racetrack where it's difficult to pass.
All important third corner. Looks like Junior did pretty well off that corner. About almost identical, the same speed that Jeff Gordon ran the last lap.
Now, here's the pass we were trying to show you before. This is Gordon getting the lead from Rudd after the restart.
Down in turn 1, and Jeff Gordon just loves the outside down there for some reason.
Power move.
And the strange thing is he doesn't use it all the time. Talking about Jeff Gordon and that outside line down in turn 1. Seems like he just saves that till he really needs it.
Fourth place, Mark Martin in the 6, Bill Elliott in the 9. Martin started 3rd, Elliott started 14th. Bill's been in the top 5 or in the vicinity of the top 5 about the whole race. Best run he's had all year. Elliott finished 5th in the season opening Daytona 500. That was his only top 5 finish of the year, but things have been coming around lately for Bill and the Ray Evernham team. He's finished 9th or 10th in 3 of the last 6 races.
And if you look at what happened in Happy Hour and Friday and everything else, you would think this would be the 19 car up here challenging Mark Martin, because Casey Atwood is the guy that really ran well in all the practices and qualified well. But instead, it's Bill Elliott.
It's been a long time since Bill Elliott's been to victory lane. September 1994. 212 races ago. That's at 30 and change a year.
If he keep running like this, he will win before long.
Got that pit report from Matt Yokel a little while ago about the fuel pressure gauge on Jeff Gordon's car. Look at the right-hand gauge on the dial. That's the fuel pressure gauge in question. And if you look at it very closely, you can see the liquid. See the liquid slogging around inside it as he goes through the corner?
Yep, sure can.
So that's the gauge that's giving him fits right now.
But the gauge isn't fluctuating, so it was steady.
You wouldn't trust it, though.
No, and you wouldn't trust it to tell you the truth. No, for sure. But it has no effect on how the car runs.
Yeah.
That's just an instrument to tell them about when they're going to run out of fuel.
Gordon leads Dale Jr. by an even 1 second. We are 200 miles into the Pennsylvania 500. Another huge crowd on hand at Pocono Raceway in northeastern Pennsylvania to watch the Nascar Winston Cup Series in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. The race for the championship next weekend moves to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 8th Brickyard 400. You'll see it next Sunday at 2 Eastern on NBC. Then it's on to the road course in Watkins Glen, New York. Michigan and Bristol Ovals to wrap up the month of August. The race for the championship on NBC and TNT, our Wendy's race venue. All Jeff Gordon right now.
And now down in turn 1, when he gets by himself, he runs that low line and he runs very fast around the racetrack. It seems like when he gets around other cars, he can use that outside line to pass cars. And folks, we've shown you 9,000 RPMs. And if you've been following this sport for a long time, we just haven't seen that kind of RPM for the last couple of years. And you wonder, how do they do it? Here's one thing. The valve springs was always the big problem. Let's take you inside our TNT virtual garage, and you see they squirt oil on the valve spring. Each valve spring has a squirter that squirts some oil on there that cools that metal, that allows them to turn 9,000 RPMs. Jeff Gordon, as he comes off turn 2, you see he's down to about 6,000. Oh, we had a little bit of a glitch there, but now the tachometer, 8,000. Shifts gears. We saw it back up a little bit when he shifted. Now he goes down into turn 3, about 8,800 RPMs. A lot of other things in the engine allows them to turn RPMs, but without that valve spring cooler There's no way in the world they can turn at that kind of RPM, because that metal working as hard as it works, it's kind of like, as a guy used yesterday, trying to bend the coat hanger. You work back and forth, back and forth. How hot that metal gets, the bow spring does the same thing.
That was Mr. Wizard.
Mr. Wizard told us that.
Nelson Crozier, part of our crew here. Dale Jarrett on the move. Trying to pick up a couple of spots. He's just passed Jeff Burton for the 12th spot, and now Kevin Harvick for 10th.
And Burton has followed Dale Jarrett every place he's gone today.
Tony Stewart in that mix also. Orange car down to the inside.
And nice and smooth. Go get that old 66 over.
Bobby Jeffries, Dale Jarrett's spotter. Todd Bodine's the next car in front of him for position. Todd in 9th spot. Stewart through Harvick. So Kevin's lost 3 positions this lap.
That's Wally's car, that 29 car, the one that he practiced yesterday. And I'm sure you had high hope for him today, didn't you, Wally?
I did.
You could have been a hero if he'd have won the race. Gone to victory lane, celebrating with him.
Hey, listen, long way to go. I'm helping you out here, Walt.
I know.
Long way to go.
Well, I noticed the last pit stop they made, it didn't look like they made any adjustments on the car.
Second place, Ricky Rudd, up under Dale Jr. That's turn 1.
And Ricky Rudd goes into second.
Bill?
Well, Alan, as you know, crew chief Michael McSwain runs a pretty loose ship. He likes it that way. He likes everything upbeat, everything happy, does not like to dwell on the negative. Last week, their jackman, John Bryan, is the guy that slipped and fell at Loudon, one we showed you in the pre-race show. Well, this week, during pit practice, his buddies rallied to his support. In fact, he told me during pit stop practice, all his teammates kept falling down, like pretending they were him. But then they came back and they said, look, we know you're our guy. They know that you're the man we want jack of this car. And they just had a great stop. Now, McSwain keeps it real light, except when he says the TV guys didn't time our pit stop right. He had their last stop at 14:40. And he said that comes from the mistake they made last week. They used it as fuel to make them better this week.
And we flew back from the New Hampshire race last Sunday night on a charter plane with a number of members from a lot of different teams. And John Bryan and a lot of the 28 guys were on that plane. He came back and said, boy, you guys don't miss anything, do you?
Big Brother's always watching, guys. Just remember.
Here comes Bobby Labonte working Bill Elliott for 5th. And done. Here comes Bill. Bobby kind of washed up a little bit.
Now, who the 22 goes with makes a big difference.
He may go 3 wide and go by both of them on this front stretch.
See, he pulled up behind Bill, and that's going to help Bill out.
5th, 6th, and 7th. Wow, Bobby drove it on in there.
Yes, he did. Really zing that 18 car, the green one, down into the first turn. Now, Bill Elliott about to lose another spot to Ward Burton, the 22.
How about Ward? Started 34th. He's racing Elliott for 6th. Great run.
And Ward, he normally runs very good here at Pocono. He likes this racetrack.
Finished as high as 2nd here. Back to this race, 1994. And we transition ahead from this race for 5th to the race for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Haven't talked a lot about Mark Martin here in this last while. Jeff Gordon's kind of been so strong and so dominant, but Mark hanging right in there.
He is hanging right there. Marty, did you have something on Bill Elliott?
Yeah, well, Benny, it's going to be a busy week for Bill Elliott. He's having a terrific run today, but after here, he heads to Atlanta, and tomorrow he starts 3 days of recurrent training to keep his pilot's license up to date. He's been studying a 200-page book for about 3 weeks, and he said, you know what, I am really nervous about tomorrow because I'll be in a simulator for 3 days with them throwing all kinds of scenarios, ice, thunderstorms, losing power in the airplane at me. He said, this racing stuff's easy compared to all that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Easy for him to say. Well, I'll tell you what, as good a run as this car is having today is going to give the Ford guys, the critics of the rule change, all the ammo they want.
If you just tuned in, see that orange stripe on the bottom of that red car? That's the front bumper. It's kicked out from the leading edge of the bumper. The bottom of it, they're able to kick it out a ½ inch. Beginning next week at the Brickyard 400, 2½ inches is going to be, is it 2 or 2½ inches?
2 inches.
2 inches.
2 inches, an inch and a half more. We're able to kick the bottom of that thing out.
Which should help them turn the car. It's going to give them more downforce on the nose, more grip on the front tires, and that's what they've been lacking.
Elliott has fallen back to 7th place now, so it's not like he's running away and winning the race by any means. Jeff Gordon has moved out to a 4.6-second lead on Ricky Rudd as we approach halfway in the Pennsylvania 500 by Pep Boys. It's always Benny.
Benny.
It's always Benny.
Well, hi, Judy. That's Judy from Maryland. You don't know her?
I was gonna say, how much family do you have out there?
Thank you, Judy.
Alan Bestwick, Wally Dallenbach, Benny Parsons here at Pocono, coming up on halfway through the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. It's been Jeff Gordon early and often so far today. He's led 76 of the 95 laps that we've run to this point. And he's pulling away from Ricky Rudd.
And I was only kidding. I have no idea who that young lady was.
Yeah, sure, Benny.
I don't. Yes, he is pulling away from Ricky Rudd. He's
trying to cover up.
Almost 5. Let's get back to the race. Almost 5 seconds behind Jeff Gordon is Ricky Rudd.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 3rd. Mark Martin's 4th. Bobby Labonte is up to 5th. Let's go to pit road and Matt Yoakum.
Alan, an interesting incident took place during that last caution when Jeff Gordon made his pit stop. The crew members here in the Gordon pit borrowed a home video camera from a race fan standing at the back of the pit. Todd Matzik from Warrenton, Pennsylvania loaned them his high 8 camera. They used to shoot through the window and look at the dash just to see how bad that fuel pressure gauge was leaking. And let's talk with Robbie Loomis. Robbie, you used the home video camera to look at the dash. How is that fuel pressure gauge now? Jess said it was slightly leaking under caution.
Right now, everything's stabilized. You know, we just got to say our prayers. DuPont Chevrolet's running great. The DuPont pit crew is doing a great job of kind of lifting things in.
And let's go back up pit road to Bill Weber. Bill?
And we've moved to the garage with Todd Bodine. Obviously, you're our pole sitter, but you're back here. What happened?
Something in the transmission broke. I believe it's something in 4th gear. Going from 3rd to 4th. Running 4th there, something broke. And from there out, I heard the pieces rattling around in there, and I told Larry, I said, it's only a matter of time before it gives up. That's a shame. We had a good car. We were backing up there because the transmission actually was slowing the car down, and but it's a shame the Blue Light Special was pretty decent. We didn't know what kind of car we had after happy hour. We made some more guesses and hit it pretty close, but I tell you, whenever our luck changes, we're going to be pretty tough.
Last time they had any luck was at Las Vegas. That's the last time they had a top 10. That was in March. So this time the blue light brings out the red light for Todd.
And transmissions.
Yep.
I mean, it's so
Get lost in your mirror.
Martin losing the spot.
4th place for Bobby Labonte. And he's right behind Dale Jr., the 3rd place runner.
As a matter of fact, Ricky Rudd, the winner here in June, 6 weeks ago, with 10 laps to go, he went down in turn 1, downshifted to 3rd gear, and unlike your transmission yesterday, it did not go in. The transmission broke. He was blessed to finish the race here and win. Dale Jr. trying to keep down. What'd you say?
I just started to talk about that graphic about pole sitters failing to finish races. So Bobby Labonte to 3rd. And now Mark Martin trying to get 4th from Dale Jr. Ward Burton joins this fight too. Impressive run for Ward and Bill Davis's team today. Marty, what's going on with the 8?
Well, you guys, you'll notice when he goes into turn 1, he's taking a little bit of higher line than most other cars are, and that's by design for a reason. It's actually just a little bit slower than the other cars going through turn 1. But why they're doing it, and Wally, you know this, there's some bumps down in turn 1. Junior is loose, so if he hits those bumps, it makes it much worse. So he's trying to avoid those bumps. Guys like Mark Martin and Bobby Labonte are watching that, and they're thinking about taking the same line as well.
Hey, you're right, Marty. There are some bumps down at the bottom of 1, and what happens, especially with these cars running rear sway bars, that it really jacks the car around depending on what you have for springs and shock. And when you hit those bumps, it actually will lift the rear of the car off the ground. So if he runs up higher, he avoids those bumps, and it really doesn't slow you down that much. Actually, your exit speed is probably as good as if you ran the low line. It's just a longer way around turn 1.
Dale Jr. running 4th now. As we come up on the halfway point of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys, when leader Jeff Gordon comes to the start-finish line next time by, will be 250 miles in. It's an ominous statistic for Jeff Gordon.
He said, well, we'll just make it 4 out of 14.
Let's take a look a minute ago at Steve Park and Kevin Harvick racing for the 17th position. And
you know, when you're racing for that position, here's what you can do. You can have some fun. As Harvick is down the backstretch, just pushing Park down the backstretch. I'm not talking about getting close. I'm talking pushing him.
Yeah, but he needed to get back off him before they went into that tunnel corner.
He did.
Harvick's lost another spot. Ricky Craven's gone by him, so Kevin's back to 19th position. And coming up on his pit stop here very shortly.
You have to get out of the throttle off that tunnel corner?
Well, see, Kevin, when I drove this car, I only shifted one time. And Kevin likes to shift twice, so you heard him downshift going into 2, just like Jeff Gordon's doing.
Fourth place, Ward Burton working on Dale Jr.
Down in turn 3, just a little bit. Middle.
Turn 3, he said. Now, that's the one spot you don't want to have problems.
10-4. We're going to think that a little bit about it.
Johnny Benson's on pit road. Marty?
And Johnny Benson does come down pit road, Alan. They've been having a brake problem for most of the day today. In fact, they said they had, Johnny said, I came on the radio, said, we don't have any brakes. And he found a little bit of brake, though, and they're going to make a track bar adjustment on Johnny's car. He's a little bit loose. They go down one round on the track bar. It will be a 4-tire stop for these guys.
Leaders in, Jeff Gordon, along with Ricky Rudd. On pit road, Matt Yoakum.
And talking to Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, this should be a 2-tire pit stop. Let's see if they go 2 or 4, because they were debating it as he was heading down pit road. They do come around. Todd Ginn goes to work on the left front. This will be a 4-tire stop. No adjustments on the 24 to Bill Weber.
Another smooth stop for Ricky Rudd. No chassis adjustments, 4 tires and fuel. On the previous run, the tires they just took off, Rudd was very unhappy at the beginning of that run, but happy at the end. That's why they didn't make any adjustments.
Jimmy Spencer's in. Jerry Nader's on pit road. Nader's run from the back of the pack up into the top 10 today. You see Elliott Sadler's car, a little wrinkled up. He was involved in the lap 4 crash at the start of the race. Kevin Harvick's been on pit road. John Andretti also heading back out, as is Kyle Petty. Here's Ward Burton, Dave.
What a great run for Ward Burton today. Remember, he started all the way back in the 34th position. He was a little bit tight in the center of the corner, so they're going to try to fix that with an air pressure adjustment. The crew now comes around to the left side. He's got his second can of fuel going in. And see, as he does that as well, Dale Jarrett is in. Ward Burton's out of here. Jarrett's crew now goes to the left-hand side. He has gone back and forth on his adjustments all day. He was a little bit tight, so they made just a little bit of an adjustment for Dale.
There. All clear.
Ken Schrader's in. Casey Atwood, Jeremy Mayfield. We've got Joe Nemechek on pit road. There's Schrader's team.
They changed the rear sway bar adjustment on the 36 car.
And here's Bobby Labonte, who took over the lead when Gordon and Rudd pitted. Labonte stops at lap 107. Marty?
And Bill Elliott and Bobby Labonte will come down pit road. Bobby very happy. He has said very little on the radio, and that is good news for this team. They have made a run to the front. He was running 3rd when he came in. They will make no adjustments. It will be a 4-tire stop for Bobby Labonte, the Winston Cup champion. Bill Elliott also in. His car's a little bit tight in. It's a little loose off. They make a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment in an effort to fix that problem for Bill Elliott. 4 tires for both of these guys. Bobby Labonte's back out on the racetrack. Bill Elliott drops the jack. Let's go to Bill Weber.
4 tires, fuel, and a track bar adjustment for Rusty Wallace. His car is still tight. A lightning quick stop for that bunch.
Following Jeff Burton off the pit road, you see Steve Park behind Rusty. Jason Leffler also leaving the pit lane. And here's Dale Jr. And Mark Martin coming in for stops. Marty?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in. He was pretty loose on that last run, as we talked about, especially in 1, just a little bit in 2 and 3. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, 1 pound out of the left front, 1 pound into the left rear. It will be a 4-tire stop for Dale Jr. He has a top 5 car. They're trying to make it better. They think they have one more stop after this. Lightning fast on the right side. So far, good on the left side for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They dropped the jack, and another great stop for this team.
Fantastic stuff. 13.9. And here comes Martin, and he has a head of steam.
Tony Stewart's in. Marty.
And Tony Stewart down and away with a 4-tire stop. They have been fighting a tight condition all day long. Still fighting that brake condition also for Tony Stewart's team.
So it looks like Matt Kenseth and Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven are the top 3 cars that have not yet stopped. Kenseth is the leader. As we watch Stewart get back up to speed, there's Dale Jarrett.
They made an adjustment on Dale Jarrett's car just a moment ago with a piece of tape. A simple piece of 2-inch tape. Watch, he comes in. You see the 2 holes in the front bumper? Those are air ducts for the brakes. When air goes through that, it slows the car down and hurts the downforce. They go around the left side. The front tire changer is going to reach over and stick a piece of tape. He has it on the left front. Just that little bit, hoping to help the downforce on the 88 car.
But it just blew off.
It fell off. Oh, man.
Good try.
Good try.
And, of course, you know, this car's been out getting sandblasted and all the bits of hot rubber from the other cars on it, so the tape might not necessarily stick unless you get a minute to clean that opening off.
Yeah, plus all the oil and the grime and everything up on the nose. It's hard to get anything to stick on the front of these cars after the race starts.
So Dale Jarrett right now being shown in 12th position. Got 4 cars on the track who haven't pitted yet. And they're beginning to come in now. Kurt Busch is on pit road. You've got Robert Presley and Matt Kenseth yet to stop.
It's his run on today. He's back in the 37th position as he tries to follow Dale Jarrett.
There's your leader, Matt Kenseth. He's getting a little better fuel mileage than everybody. It could come into play later if he can stay on the lead lap. Gordon's about 14 seconds behind him.
I'll tell you what, if he can stretch this thing for another, well, here he comes down pit road now.
I don't believe he'll stay on the lead lap.
He might, yeah.
He might, yeah.
Gordon's going to pass him for the lead.
Yeah, right.
Then Gordon's got to go all the way around. So,
yep, you're right.
All right, let's watch Robbie Reiser's crew go to work.
It's unbelievable. They can wear some brooms out on pit road, can't they? Right side's coming off.
I don't want to be the one picking up those lug nuts after they've come off the race car. They're hot.
Man, that was quick on their right side. See him changing the rear sway bar on the left side. 15.5 seconds.
Good stop. So back out for Kenseth, and that'll put the lead back in the hands of guess who?
That would be my guess, 24 car.
Gordon's about 14 laps away from locking up the most laps led bonus points on the day. When he comes to the start-finish line, it'll be the 87th circuit he's led today out of 112.
Goes by listening to ship.
Got about a 6-second lead right now, but he's being smooth with it.
The Pocono Mountain Resort area in northeastern Pennsylvania, about 90 miles west of New York City and a similar distance north of Philadelphia. And right smack in the middle of that is the giant Pocono Raceway, 2.5-mile triangle, where today the NASCAR Winston Cup Series runs the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Crowd close to 90,000 people jammed in here today, and it has been an all Jeff Gordon day so far. Time to take a look at your Pennsylvania 500 game piece. Match it against our current leaderboard. If you've scratched off Jack on your Pep Boys card, you're an instant winner of one of many prizes. The grand prize is a NASCAR 3-race tour for 2 next season. Early and often, Jeff Gordon has led this race.
And we could tape that just going on home. Jeff Gordon leads as he comes off turn 1 or 2 or 3. That time it was turn 3 by the start-finish line to complete yet one more lap.
But that's why we run these races. How many times here at Pocono have we seen somebody lead a lot of the race and then lose out in the end?
That's true.
Ricky Rudd only led 39 laps in his June win here. Even though he started on the pole, he only led 39 of the 200 laps.
And it almost broke with 10 laps to go.
I can remember a few years back, Jeff Gordon leading late and missing a shift on a restart. And Terry Labonte getting a win.
With 1 or 2 laps to go.
Yep.
Mike Wallace, the 7th car, Nation's Rent car, about to go another lap down. That will put him a couple laps down, back in 34th.
Looking back, Jeff Gordon is some 6.3 seconds ahead of Ricky Rudd. You've got Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 3rd, Bobby Labonte in 4th, and now back farther behind, actually in the middle of this group, Ward Burton has just taken over 5th position. He's moved up around Mark Martin. There's Ward, just gotten by Mark. Outstanding performance for this team today. Started in 34th position. Ward's kind of been stuck on 20th the last couple of weeks. He's finished 20th both at Chicago and New Hampshire coming into this race, but he's had a phenomenal run so far today. Let's go through the field, take a look back at everybody that's in this Pennsylvania 500 by Pep Boys. Let you know where they're standing. Jeff Gordon's about to put a lap on Stacy Compton, who's running in 38th position. That's going to put Stacy 4 laps down to the leader. Gordon has led 92, make it 93 in the 118 laps. It's Hutch Strickland just in front of Jeff Gordon now, and Mike Wallace just behind. Strickland, the 33rd place car. And Mike Wallace, the 34th. Strickland's about to go 2 laps down. Looking back for Ricky Rudd.
And there comes Ricky Rudd, the 28 car, and that's what?
5.5 seconds.
So he has gained a second and a half. Ricky Rudd has gained a second and a half. But the reason being that Jeff had some trouble passing Mike Wallace down the corner allowed Ricky Rudd to gain quite a bit on him.
Dale Jr.'s 3rd. Pretty solid run for Jr. 12th position is where he took the green. He's moved up. Right behind him is the lap car of Robbie Gordon. Subbing for Mike Skinner again this week. He's back in 35th position. And in 4th place is Bobby Labonte. Marty?
And Bobby is having a terrific run, Alan. He has not said very much on the radio at all. And Jimmy Makar says, you know what? That's a good thing. The car does not start runs very well, but the longer they go, the better they get. He was running 3rd just a few moments ago. That's why he was passed by Dale Jr. for 3rd. He's now in 4th because it takes a while for the car to come in, Dave Burns.
Car Ward Burton is running great today as well. They are right now complaining. Actually, Ward radioed in. He's a little bit loose on exit, and though the stagger on these tires is not very different, the circumference between the right and the left rear, he asked him to close it up a little bit, and that will loosen up the car. To Bill Weber.
Well, Mark Martin's car has been tight throughout most of the race, tied off now. I just talked to his crew chief, Jimmy Fennig. Among the numerous things they did on his last stop, a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment on the left side of the car, trying to help Mark Martin get better. To Marty.
And Bill Elliott is back in 7th, having the best run that he has had in months. They've been fighting the same condition all day long. Tied in, loose off. They've tried everything they can to fix it. So far, it has not worked. The car starts off very good on runs, but that's what happens late in the run. Gets tied in, loose off. To Dave Burns.
Marty, right now, Dale Jarrett is running laps equal to the leaders, and that's a good thing because he was tight earlier in the day. I just asked Todd Parrott if he still has that condition with the car. Todd shook his head no, so things are looking good for Dale Jarrett. Let's go to Marty.
And Dave, Tony Stewart is the highest he's been all day. He's up in the 9th position, and he just radioed to his crew. This is the best we've had the car all day. Greg Zafadelia's crew chief said, take care of it and be smooth. They finally think they have a car that can finish in the top 5.
The only problem, Marty, of late for Jeff Burton has been a miscommunication on when to pit. It did cost Jeff some time on the racetrack, but they are trying to make that back up. No adjustments on the last stop. I spoke with Frank Stoddard, the crew chief. they will have to stop at least one more stop because they are going to be about 12 laps shy of making it on one stop unless we get some cautions. But remember, Pocono is one racetrack where you can save fuel rather easily. But it also depends on how many cautions we get. Alan?
There's Jimmy Spencer running in the 11th spot, just ahead of Rusty Wallace in 12th. Spencer started in the 7th position. He's just kind of been hanging around the backside or just outside of the top 10 all day.
And that's a battle for position. And Rusty Wallace, got to give him a big attaboy because what was he running, 21st or 22nd the last time we saw him? He's up now to the 12th position, gained 10 spots. So Rusty, atta baby.
And Rusty really wasn't that happy with the car yesterday, and they didn't think they were going to run too good today, but they made some adjustments during these pit stops, turn this car around.
Rusty in 12th position. Behind him, you've got Jerry Nadeau in 13th spot. There's Nadeau at the top of the frame. Nadeau started in 39th position. And has just driven his way up through the pack. Great run for Jerry. Best finish here at Pocono, a 19th place run, in position to do better than that here today. Matt Kenseth, 14th place. Matt's led a lap by getting better fuel mileage than everybody else. In fact, he's led 3 laps today by staying out longer.
This guy right here, the 17 car, folks, remember him. He might push this envelope and try to make it on one more fuel stop if this thing should go green. We know that every other car on the track but him has to stop twice. He might try to push it and go the rest of the race on one stop.
Little hunk of tape dangling from the back of his car. There's Steve Park in 15th. Steve started in 38th. Not really been a threat to get up into the top 10, but he is moving up steadily. There's the scoring serial on Steve. And behind Park, you've got Sterling Marlin, who had been, 6th, 7th earlier in the race. There's Sterling.
And he ran 4th here back just 6 weeks ago, and you really felt like he would be contending for the win today, but evidently has missed the chassis setup today.
Falling back in the pack. Next up, 17th place is Kurt Busch. As you look back as Marlin's about to take that spot from Kenseth, there's Kurt Busch. Kurt ran as high as 2nd by stretching his fuel. A few laps back before the green flag stopped. You see he's just kind of been hanging in 17th for a little while now. Second start here at Pocono for Kurt.
And Kenseth, I guess he's just moving over trying to save fuel as he lets Kurt Busch go by. Either that or something's wrong with the car.
We'll get a pit reporter on that one and follow up here in a minute.
Something's wrong. Looks to me like he might be going to pit.
Flat right rear. Right rear's flat on Kenseth's car. See it? Bulge into the sidewall.
Whoa. You have to slow down. It's definitely down.
So much for the fuel play.
Yes.
76 laps to go. Now he'll have to make it on one more stop, but it's not going to be any advantage. Tough break for Matt. Going to cost him a lap. Jeff Gordon's just gone by on the racetrack, even though they only took the 2 tires. It's too late.
Now all Matt Kenseth can hope for is that he goes back on the racetrack, runs pretty well. When Jeff Gordon makes his pit stop, all right, there we go. Ward Burton goes by Bobby Labonte, moves into the 4th position.
Round, nice move.
As I was saying about Kenseth, all he can hope for now is that all the leaders will pit and then hopefully get a caution flag before he has to pit again.
Ricky Rudd, 5.1 seconds behind Jeff Gordon, Bill.
Having a better run this time, Alan. Remember, on the previous set of tires, Ricky was very unhappy. You don't want to call him mismatched, but he said the car was basically junk. This time, they looked closer at the tires, and they matched them up a little bit better. Ricky called in the early laps and said, I think we've got something better here. Now, this tire business is a real scientific scientific business, and you want to make your tires match up as good or as well as possible. It's done with numbers and codes that these guys know all about that, a guy like me would take years to learn. But let me show you one thing. This is the next tire that they're putting on the left rear of Ricky Rudd's car. It came from the Ford team because the compounds and the codes match up better. They didn't get this from the Ford team, though. They got it from the 29. You get your rims, they're brought to the track. Goodyear mounts your tires at random. Guys that know each other on other teams compare numbers, and when it gets to the heat of the battle, you know where you can go to get tires that match. So watch for that. The Ford will have a tire from the Ford car. Matt?
Bill, an update on the 17 car, Matt Kenseth. And the reason for his unscheduled pit stop, very simple. You can see right here, he ran over some piece of debris and cut down this right rear tire on his 17 car. A tough break for Kenseth.
Matt back in 28th position, one lap down to leader Jeff Gordon. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team plotting their strategy. They run third behind Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd. 73 laps to go in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Jeff Gordon marching on in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. With a 4.8-second lead over Ricky Rudd, Gordon has locked up the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps in this race. He's led 105 of the 130 laps so far. Log on now to NASCAR.com and check out the Conseco NASCAR Fantasy Challenge. Pick your own team of drivers and see how you match up against other fantasy teams. Log on today and you might just win a replica of the number 14 Conseco Winston Cup Pontiac. Impressive, dominant. What other superlatives can I throw in there? Where's my dictionary?
During the commercial break, Wally Dallenbeck said, what'd you say, Wally?
I just can't believe how fast he's going and also making that extra shift. I mean, he is hooked up.
Look at Jeff Gordon. How many more laps he's led than the next driver this season? He's led more laps than second through fourth combined.
I couldn't add that quick, so I'm glad Alan came up with that.
Well, I couldn't add it either, but they printed it out on the bottom there, so that helped. But I appreciate you giving me credit for being that smart.
Well, don't get used to it.
Ricky Rudd has been running about a tenth or two of a second faster per lap than Jeff Gordon about the last 10 laps, Walt.
If I remember, the last Pocono race, I think Ricky was better on the long runs. And it's starting to show that right now. But also, those tires, getting those tires matched is important, Benny. I mean, you can put a set of tires on, and if it's not matched right or sets a little bit off, it really hurts your lap times.
It's just amazing. It's almost the tires have to be made on the same day by the same person to be matched correctly.
I mean, I'd come in and the car's been good at times and say, let's just change tires and put fuel in it. And you go out and you're 2 or 3 tenths off, and you'll swear that they changed something on that race car.
Let's talk some strategy here just for a minute. Gordon last pitted at lap 105. Gordon and Rudd together. That left him 95 laps to go. 40 and change. Could we see guys try to stretch this so they can make the finish on one more stop?
Wow.
105, 40, that's 145.
I don't think they can make it.
Somebody get up to 45, 46 laps?
Some of these guys might be able to run 42, 43 laps. They haven't done it today yet.
We'll keep an eye on it. Just depend where they stop this. Oh, here's Gordon going to come in.
Question asked, question answered.
30, this is early. Let's think, he stopped at 105. This is 133. This is early for Jeff Gordon. Matt, what's going on?
And the 24 car is on pit road. I spoke with Robbie Loomis. They just decided to come down and make another pit stop. Lap 133. He told me they could not go the distance on one more stop. He said we were definitely going to be about 25 laps short. So if you go by their math, this is come around to the left side of the car. He said we just could not make it. We did the numbers. We could not make it. And now he's down and away.
Something does not compute.
He's short pitting. He has been all day for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why, unless his car, like Wally talked about, Ricky Rudd's car is better on long runs. Maybe they're just short pitting, trying to keep fresh tires on that 24 car.
He only run 27 laps. He's been going further than that.
He has been going further than that. One of the spotters told, I think it was Ricky Rudd he was talking to.
Yeah, he ran 35 laps last time. He only ran 28 this time. Marty?
Well, it's been a rough day for Johnny Benson, as now he kills the car. They're sitting here on a pit stop. It'll be a 4-tire stop. They put a rubber in the right front. He's extremely loose. They went up 1 pound on all the tires. They put 2 rounds of bite in the left rear. Extremely loose for Johnny Benson. It has been a long day for this team.
Benson rejoins the hunt, falling back. He's going to be 23rd position as he rejoins the field. Green flag pit stops for the leaders ongoing at Pocono. We're back after this. Using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400. Kevin Harvick takes the inaugural Tropicana 400 at Chicagoland. Here comes Jarrett. 4 laps to go. The teammates banging together. Dale Jarrett takes the New England 300, his first win here at New Hampshire International Speedway.
3 dramatic finishes in the last 3 weeks in our TNT NBC Sports coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. What will happen today? Last week it was a Yates car going to victory lane. Right now a Yates car leading this race. Ricky Rudd's had a good car throughout the day. We've dodged the weather. A smooth race to this point. But questions concerning the car and the pit stop of Jeff Gordon. Let's quickly get that story from Matt Yoke.
Bill Gordon and his DuPont crew spiked the drama meter. Robbie, you pitted about 7 laps earlier than normal. Why?
Well, we're just trying to, make sure we take care of our fuel with that fuel gauge acting up. Try to see how it shakes out here, if they have any cautions, what goes on.
Reaction, guys?
Question asked, not answered.
And you expected different from a crew chief in the middle of a race. How? Well, we'll see. Gordon is definitely going to have to stop one more time. I think everybody else is too. The trick is if it comes under green, Gordon's going to need more fuel than they are, and the other guys can make a shorter pit stop.
Well, the other 2 Hendrick cars are coming down pit road right now. Jerry Nadeau and Terry Labonte.
So they're all stopping shorter than some of the others. Gordon, by the way, to reestablish, is in 16th position, and he is 35 seconds behind leader Ricky Rudd. Nader's out of fuel. Or stalled it.
Stalled it. Keep pushing, guy.
I got nothing now. That 3rd gear.
Well, that explains that.
3rd gear is all he has. Here comes Joe Nemechek.
Nemechek a lap down in 27th position before the stop. It's kind of been just there all day. Matt?
And Joe Nemechek is in. They are going to make a chassis adjustment on the 33 car. Not, 3, 4, 5 rounds of wedge as they come around to the left side of Nemechek's car. He is a flat track specialist. Left side's on, and he's down and away.
60 laps to go. John Andretti on pit road as Nemechek rejoins the hunt. You see Andretti there. He's getting attention from his crew, and we look to see the leader, Ricky Rudd, coming up to put Nemechek a lap down. Another lap down.
Also, Kyle Petty, the sprint car, goes another lap down to Ricky Rudd.
So how much longer can Rudd stay out there? 60 laps to go. The farther he can stretch this load of fuel, the less time he'll have to spend on pit road and the final splash and dash if we stay green all the way through. Spencer's in. 11th spot, Bill.
Another strong run for Jimmy Spencer, Allen. His car is running well. They do not plan on making any adjustments. It's 4 tires and fuel for the Kmart Ford. This would be a popular win if this Pennsylvania driver could pull off a victory at Pocono. He's had strong runs lately, always in the spotlight, but Spencer hoping to win at his hometown track.
Casey Atwood farther up the pit lane getting service. Mike Wallace has been on and off pit road. There's Mike following Spencer out.
May be out of gas?
Uh-oh. If he's out of gas, he's not going to be able to coast back. This will bring out the caution flag and destroy Jeff Gordon's track position.
He'll stay on the lead lap, though.
He'll be on the lead lap, but he'll just be behind in about 10th, 12th place.
If the caution comes out, maybe they choose to leave him out there.
And can he make it from here?
No.
Can't.
No.
But may as well come in and change tires and everything.
Keeping an eye, the NASCAR officials are on Kyle Petty to see if he's going to make it back around or if he's going to bring the caution out.
I can't see how he can coast back.
Mentioned that Kevin Harvick's on pit road. Bobby Labonte got a problem? It's kind of way down the inside of the track there, but he seems to be up to speed. Bill Elliott leaving pit road, or coming into his pit stall, rather. Marty?
And Bill is indeed in. Allen still tied in, loose off. That's the same condition they have been fighting all day long. But just a little while ago on the radio, Bill said, it's a little bit better. Let's take it one step further. They make a wedge adjustment and an air pressure adjustment again, trying to fix that same problem for Bill Elliott, but they're still having a terrific run and a nice 4-tire stop.
Caution is out for Kyle Petty. Jeff Burton also leaving pit road with Bill Elliott. Can they beat the leader off the pit lane? They will. Ricky Rudd's going to come up behind them. And the caution for Kyle Petty, slow car. 3rd yellow of the day.
Now these guys really caught a break. And I think they saw Kyle Petty's car slow on the backstretch. And I think that's why Bill Elliott, Jeff Burton, and a bunch of those cars chose to pit. See, Bobby Labonte, he should have pitted, but he changed his mind. He goes back on the racetrack. If he had pitted, he'd have the fuel, the tires, he'd stay on the racetrack and be up front. Now, Ricky Rudd, the leader, he's going to restart this race about 10th.
But you know what, Benny, that is just the problem with that is you can't fault Bobby there, because on any other racetrack except this one, if you pitted there, you'd be caught a lap down. This racetrack and the road courses are big enough that, you know, the lap time is long enough where you can make that pit stop and stay on the lead lap.
But he wasn't going to be pitted. He was not going to be lapped.
Yeah, like I said, your natural reaction is...
By the 9 car, Bill Elliott. The pace car is leaving. Where is Ricky Rudd? Where is Ricky Rudd? He's way back here, so...
Safe.
Safe.
Safe at home. Well, we know Rudd and Earnhardt Jr. and Ward Burton and Bobby will all come in. Question is, Jeff Gordon, Bill Elliott, Jeff Burton, the guys that have already come in under the green that are still on the lead lap, what do they do?
I don't know about Jeff Gordon, you see. This caution flag really puts those guys, Robbie Loomis, Brian Weitzel, and Jeff, in a predicament. They have to make the decision, do they stay on the racetrack or pit? All these cars got to pit again. Does Jeff Gordon give up all that track position to pit? We'll find out.
He'll stay.
Think he'll stay on the racetrack?
Yeah.
Okay.
19 cars on the lead lap. Let's see. Watching for Jeff Gordon. Go ahead, Dave.
The man tied for the championship, Dale Jarrett, comes in. A track bar adjustment and a little pressure out of the left rear. He's tight in the center of the corner. Let's go to Bill.
No adjustments for Ricky Rudd, except remember they're putting on the tire they went and got from the 29 team that originally belonged to the 4. They were going to pit for 2 laps, but Michael McSwain kept Rudd on the track. To Marty.
And a little bit of a problem on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s stop when they dropped the jack on the right side. They dropped it on the air hose. They got it up quickly, however, and it's still a quick stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They have had great stops all day long to Matt Yoakum.
Jeff Burton is down and away. He did come back in for just left side tires because he was on pit road on lap 142 when the caution came out, and they also topped off the fuel cell.
Well, I think Jeff Burton, the 99 car, Citgo car, was back far enough that Ricky Rudd probably would have lapped him if he had changed 4 tires.
And the answer on Jeff Gordon is?
Wally's correct.
No, he did not pit.
Attaboy, Wally.
Attaboy. We'll see how it all sorts out and get set for the restart when we come back to Pocono on TNT. Here's our Pepsi race recap of the Pennsylvania 500. It was Todd Bodine and Ricky Rudd who shared the front row at the start. Jeff Gordon would waste no time, though, getting to the point. He has led most of this event. First caution. Just 3 laps in, Elliott Sadler loses power, gets tagged by Michael Waltrip, collects Buckshot Jones. In turn number 3, Dale Jarrett also got some minor damage in that incident. Here's Gordon going by Ricky Rudd to take the lead for the first time in the race at lap 11. He has led 109 of the 146 laps completed so far in this race. Lap 95, Todd Bodine, the pole sitter, turns into the garage. Transmission trouble, one of our storylines for the day. He's returned after repairs. And now the most recent caution, the third of 3. It is Kyle Petty who stopped on the racetrack after his car lost power. And that's where we stand in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. 53 laps to go when the field comes back to the start-finish line. By virtue of people staying on the track under the caution, we've got one of those weird situations on the restart. The lead car is going to be the 5th one back in the outside lane. The cars of Jimmy Spencer, Kevin Harvick, Casey Atwood, and Jeremy Mayfield are on the tail end of the lead lap. The bubbles over the cars are the first 3 on the lead lap.
And those guys will be racing their hearts out, trying to stay in the lead lap. Talking about Spencer, Harvick, Atwood, green flag.
Remember, the cars on the tail end of the lead lap are basically 2.5 miles behind the leader. The pace car put them there in front of him on the restart by the way the pit stops fell. If they can get a quick caution, they're back in the hunt for a good finish. Watching Bill Elliott try to make a move on Jeff Gordon in the scramble there for the lead. Here comes Rudd on Elliott for second, and Ward Burton going to get Elliott for third. Look at the traffic.
Jeff Gordon trying to figure out who does he follow, the 43, the 12, the 19, the 92, which line is going to be best. And Bill Elliott goes back by Ricky Rudd.
John Andretti in that inside lane in front
Here
of
comes
Ford.
Elliott on the outside of Jeff Gordon.
Side by side for the lead. Dale Jr. 3 deep to the inside, back for about 4th.
Marty, what about Bill Elliott?
And on the radio, his team encouraging him to fight. Remember, this team has not finished in the top 5 since Daytona in the 500. They desperately want a top 5 here. They think they have the car to do it.
Was that DJ going up to the top of the racetrack? Did he get booted up there?
Kicked on a line, but kept it off the wall. Jarrett still going in 10th spot. Tony Stewart getting into the mix of things. What a thrash this has become.
Tony Stewart on the inside of his teammate.
Both Labonte and Stewart have gone by Ward Burton. Dale Jr.'s under him, and Mark Martin also. Ward's hung up behind Stacy Compton, a couple of laps down in the 92 car.
Oh, Junior.
Oh, trouble.
There it is. Ward Burton.
Jeff Burton's in it. Kevin LePage and Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett, the championship leader, with the nose of his car all caved in the wreck.
And that's what we talked about earlier. On the restarts, that's where the trouble happens. If you're deep in the pack.
Look at the damage to the nose of the UPS.
Yeah, I think it's got the radiator. I've got no water temp.
Jeff Burton headed for pit road. Jeff Gordon bringing the field back around to the caution flag.
Well, how many cars are going to get their lap back? Matt Kenseth is going to get a lap back. Jimmy Spencer, Kevin Harvick, the 93 car of Dave Blaney. Now, a lot of cars going to get laps back. Here they all come.
From the accident scene, Mike Wallace, Casey Atwood, Jeremy Mayfield, and John Andretti. Now look at Gordon playing it safe with all the debris. Here's Rudd going to bid for the lead back to the car. That's not
I think
Rudd.
it's 92 car.
That's right, that's Stacy Coffey.
He almost got his lap back.
Thought that was the star on the hood of his car instead of the bear. The race for the championship has just taken a twist here at Pocono. Dale Jarrett, last week's winner at New Hampshire, in the garage. Damage to his car after being caught up in an accident at lap 151. Let's take a look at what happened.
See the 8 car goes up the hill. The 92 car, Ward Burton, jumped off the throttle to avoid hitting the 92. And his brother Jeff ran in the back of him, spun him around, and I think DJ ran in the 4 car.
The accordion effect there.
Watch as the 8 car comes off the corner. He goes up the hill, and the I thought the 92.
I think the 92 got loose. That's what we were talking about earlier, but see if we can get another shot at it.
The 92 got loose and had to back off the front.
And the 22 was right there.
Yeah. Look at the cars taking a pit road to miss the wreck, too.
I thought the 8 car was involved. Watch as I thought right there when
he's already gotten into him right there.
So you're saying Ward ran into the back of Compton, or Compton lifted?
No, I think Ward was right on the back of the 92 all the way through turn 3. He got the 92 loose, and then when the 92 backed out of it, Ward was all over him.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Dale Jarrett was running in 8th at the time of this wreck. Here's a look at it from his view.
Oh, this is going to be ugly. That Kodak is going away.
Oh.
Come on, come on, come on.
Nemechek's view.
All right, Joe.
Kind of looked like the wreck he had in June here.
Except I didn't get through that clear.
Yeah. Kevin LePage out of his car and okay, but the Kodak machine pretty well messed up. Under caution, 49 laps to go at Pocono. That's what a wreck sounds like from up close. Dale Jarrett sitting in his car in the garage area while the Robert Yates team, led by crew chief Todd Parrott, trying to effect repairs to get him back out onto the track. The really, really bad news for DJ in this, he's the only one in the garage besides the cars that were in this wreck.
Here, watch this. Contact's going to be back there between 22, 92, and then the 99 gets in the back of the 22, and it's on from there.
Look at Elliott Sadler. Watch him hang a left and dive for pit road.
Watch how hard the 99 hits the 22.
Boom! Back wheels right up off the ground. Man. Here's Mikey Waltrip's view.
But you got to spin up high right now. They're up high. Hold your line, buddy. Hold your line inside, outside. Come on.
That was good work on the spotter there.
Bill? Well, as you said, Alan, they continue to work on the front of this car. The big thing, obviously, is the radiator, also checking all the suspension and all the plumbing of the car under the hood. So, I mean, it's been amazing to watch these guys work. Obviously, they're trying to get him back out there as quickly as possible, get as many points as they can, salvage any position this late in the race. But Dale sits quietly in the car while his crew is literally slaving away. Dave?
And Bill, while he was sitting there, Jeff Burton went over and had a little conversation with Dale Jarrett. What did you say to Dale?
Well, the 92 was in front of Ward, and he checked up, and then Ward checked up, and I didn't get checked up, so I ran in the back of Ward and started the whole thing. So I needed to go tell him I was sorry. I need to tell everybody I'm sorry. I just didn't get checked up. I saw it happening, and I got woed down, but I didn't get woed down quick enough. And that's what everybody asks, how's it racing with your brother? That's what's bad about it. He had a great car, had a chance to win. I got into the back of him. It cost him a chance, and cost us a good finish, cost Jared a good finish, cost others too. But I guess those things happen in racing.
You hear the pounding in the background, Alan. They're working like they want to try to do something with the 99, but it's pretty beat up. Alan?
Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett, Ward Burton, and Kevin LePage, the 4 cars who have gone to the garage after this crash late in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Ouch. Hey, don't forget our encore presentation of today's Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys, midnight Eastern and Pacific time on TNT on Monday night. Next week, it's on to Indianapolis. Can't wait. Brickyard 400 qualifying Saturday, 11 a.m. on TNT. Happy hour 4 Eastern on CNNSI. And NASCAR Busch Series racing from Indianapolis Raceway Park on TNT Saturday night. Then Sunday, the 8th running of the Brickyard 400. Bobby Labonte, the defending champion, 2 p.m. Eastern time on NBC. The race for the championship on TNT and NBC. With Dale Jarrett behind the wall, championship points as of now look like this. Remember, wow. Jarrett and Gordon were tied coming in if the race were to finish like they are now. We're going back racing in a moment. We'll take a break and come back for the restart at Pocono.
This weekend, all the drama is on TNT. God! Friday night at 8. Don't miss Lethal Weapons.
Do you really want to jump?
Saturday night at 8. Follow NASCAR's Busch Series racing from Indianapolis. And Sunday night at 8. See the world premiere of the TNT original James Dean. Friday night, Lethal Weapon. Saturday night, NASCAR. Sunday night, James Dean. Every weekend, all the drama, all weekend long is on TNT.
Would you believe this? Just 5 laps after going into the garage, Dale Jarrett's car is back on the track in time for the restart. Holy cow. Here we go. Jeff Gordon leads him down. 44 laps to go.
There comes Jarrett.
Hey, he's on the clock.
Now, problem for Dale Jarrett is there is a minimum speed he's got to run. We'll keep an eye on it, let you know about it in a minute. First, let's watch the race for the lead. Gordon leads. Elliott is second in the 24 and the 9. Ricky Rudd is third. Bobby Labonte's fourth. Tony Stewart has moved up to fifth. Then you've got Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Robert Presley, and Steve Park.
See Dale Jr., the A car, trying to get by on the outside of the 33 of Nemechek. Now he decides he will fall into the corner, try to get position off the corner.
Dale Jarrett is in 35th position right now. Man. They are flying here at Pocono.
Oh,
Jarrett's got problems. The radiator fell out of it.
I think after... Ooh, that doesn't...
It actually looks like the tire cut down. I think smoke before I seen anything.
He's been into the wall. Look at the whole right side of it's torn up again.
I tried to get it cut off, but I couldn't even get to that.
The damage was just on the nose before.
We're done this time.
Bob Jeffrey, the spotter, telling the crew. And the caution flag once again comes out. Rusty Wallace coming back to the line, trying to take positions away.
He got a spot for Mark Martin there. Got 7th. And the race back to the yellow, and it'll be Gordon. Caution for debris from Dale Jarrett's car between turns 2 and 3. Let's watch what happened to DJ.
Down the backstretch, tunnel corner, right front tire's going flat.
You all right? Something broke.
2 worst words in life.
We hit the wall again, Todd. Pretty hard, too.
And he hit that wall with a lot less sheet metal and everything on the car, which actually that's a hard hit.
Yeah, nothing to give at all. All the crush factor was crushed already.
Question needs to be asked here. In their haste to get him back out onto the racetrack, something overlooked, damaged from before?
Hard to say.
Ward Burton was one of the drivers involved in the first crash that Dale Jarrett was caught up in. Dave's with him.
Ward, your brother Jeff said this is when it's not fun to race with your brother. I take it he's apologized to you?
Yeah, you know,
Jeff and I are pretty tight, though. I know that whatever happened on the racetrack, it wouldn't be anything intentional on his part or my part. We just one of those racing deals. We had some guys in front of us. Wish like hell they hadn't been there, and wish we could have a little luck at Pocono.
All right, well, good luck keeping the minimum speed out there. Get some points.
Bill Weber.
Well, walking back in here in the garage with Dale Jarrett, and there are tough days on the racetrack, but that was one of the toughest.
Yeah, it didn't start out like that, but it's sure going to end up that way. Yeah, got caught up into something. I don't know what happened in the first deal, but, you know, it's just one of those accidents. You know, things are going to happen, and unfortunately, we were in the wrong place at the wrong time. I must have cut a tire. I don't know. We got back out of there pretty quick. I don't know if we overlooked something or something there, but must cut a tire going into 3 and kind of wiped it out then.
You okay?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be all right.
Yeah, I know you told me last week I shouldn't talk to you about points because it's too early, but this is a hit for you.
It is, but we still got a long way to go. Just like we had a long way to go when we were tied, we still have that. So we got time to catch up. We do our job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Matt.
And Jeff Gordon, the leader, makes his way to his pit stall. He is in the top of the screen, followed by the 9 and then the 28 car. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on Jeff Gordon because he said his car was a little bit tight. He was too concerned, though, about an arrow push if he got into traffic. That's what he experienced last time he was here back in June. To Marty.
And Bill Elliott came down pit road in second. Fuel only for Elliott. He liked the tires. He liked the chassis. But I don't think he won the race off pit road.
I think they all had fuel only, didn't they?
Jeff Gordon got left behind.
Wow. Gee whiz.
I will tell you what, for a race that Gordon pretty much kind of stunk up the show for most of it, this thing has really twisted inside out here. There's the race off pit road. Dale Jr., Elliott,
Tony Stewart. I don't know. Ty.
18-28, 6-2.
Where's Jeff? Jeff, oh, man, he never did. He changed tires and all the rest of them, fuel only. Man.
100 miles to go in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Don't go away. Here's our Pennsylvania 500 Pep Boys leaderboard. This time it's all 3, Manny Moe and Jack. Up on top, if you have all 3 Pep Boys on your game piece, you're an instant winner, and you may have just won the grand prize, a NASCAR 3-race tour for 2 next season. Jimmy Spencer did not pit under this caution flag. He is the new leader. Jeff Gordon is back in 23rd position as we get set for the restart. Final top-offs of fuel as we get the one-to-go signal before the restart. Jeff Gordon among those in with 39 laps to go. Marty?
Well, let's talk to Tony Erie Sr. and find out what they think. Fuel only on that last stop. First of all, do you have enough to make it all the way?
Well, if it'll pick it all up, it'll make it. It's going to be close, just a gamble. We didn't want to be back there in that traffic. You get behind on this racetrack, you can't make it up. That's what happened to us last time we were here. We just didn't have any fuel mileage and ended up in the back, just never could get back up there. So we're going to take a chance. The computer says we got 22 gallons in that car. It'll make it to the end. So we're going to trust the computer today and see what happens.
Yeah, but Junior's not so sure. He's wondering if he can make it all the way. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
More drama down here in the 24 pit. Robbie Loomis, 39 laps to the finish. You came in and topped off. Can you make it to the finish?
It's going to be really tight. You know, like I said, we've been having trouble with that gauge all day. We just have to see here, see how many cautions shake out here at the end.
The most they have gone today is 35 laps. We'll see how it comes out, guys.
38 to go. Joe Nemechek is on the tail end of the lead lap in 25th position. Johnny Benson is the race leader as we go back to green. Dale Jr. second, Bill Elliott third, Tony Stewart fourth, Bobby Labonte fifth. Then you've got Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, Robert Presley, and Steve Park. Jeff Gordon is in 21st position.
Tony Stewart's on the inside of Bill Elliott. I think they might have touched as they came off 2.
Third place to Stewart.
And Bobby Labonte goes by Bill Elliott.
Let's mention that both Jeff and Ward Burton have come back from the garage area and are on the racetrack. They are 12 laps down. And Dale Jarrett's car has just been officially retired from the event. Here's the lead. Dale Jr. up on Johnny Benson's back bumper as they get by Joe Nemechek.
We've seen Dale Jr. run this high line all day long. Can he get the momentum and get by Johnny Benson? Doesn't seem like it this lap.
Tell you, I'd like to hear what Benson's crew is thinking on fuel. He last stopped a while ago. 151 was the last time Benson was on pit road. He can't go 49 laps on fuel here.
No, he had to stop one more time, so why stop and get back in this traffic? Just run till they got to stop and do it on the green flag or the next caution flag. I tell you what, if this 8 car if this 8 car can run 39 laps, it's going to be unbelievable. Let's watch our telemetry on board Dale Earnhardt Jr. Now, what's the lowest speed down in turn 1? 138 miles per hour. Comes off the corner, gets a great run on Johnny Benson. Benson kind of moves down to block that. Watch him, 8,800. A little over 9,000 RPMs. On the right side, you see his position on the racetrack. Going across the north turn of the short chute. And I'm impressed, 175 miles per hour. Here is where Earnhardt Jr. really runs well. Coming off this flat corner, he's able to get back in the throttle and get great runs on these cars in front of him.
We update a couple things here, BP. Benson stopped and topped off his fuel at 155. But that's still 45 laps to go. So just correcting that number. The other thing is Dale Jr. We heard Tony Eury say they're close on fuel. Would he be better off, Walt, staying behind Benson and drafting him for a while? Would that help him save some fuel?
I think it would. I think that's probably what you're seeing a little bit here.
Remember here 6 weeks ago, the 8 car could only run 30 laps on fuel. 30 laps. So imagine the work has been going on since then, trying to get some fuel mileage on these cars.
And you know the 10 car's got to come in, so you don't have to pass him. Just wait till he comes in. Save your fuel.
Matt, what about it?
Alan, 2 weeks ago, Steve Meal and Kerry Earnhardt took the R&D team from Dale Earnhardt Incorporated to Kentucky to work just on this topic, fuel mileage. As Benny talked about, he said that the DEI teams could only get about 30 to 32 laps back in June. They knew that this was a problem they had to solve before later in the year. That's what they worked on. They feel like now they have solved their fuel mileage problems. They felt like going in today, they could do 38 to 40 laps. So it could be close. To Marty.
Matt, Johnny Benson's team last came in at 151. They came down pit road at 155. And there's a pass for the lead on the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt Jr. goes around Johnny Benson. Benson now in second. They think that they can make it all the way on fuel, but it's going to be close as the battle for the lead continues.
Benson doesn't want to give it up.
Well, so much for our theory.
Well, he's got that position, and he realizes that he's got the best position. I don't think Junior can do it. No, he backs off. Oh, Junior right up on the back bumper, trying to get him loose so he can get him off, under him off the corner.
Benson fighting the car to keep it down low. He's going to hold on to the lead.
Man, that was great battle to that flat corner.
Johnny Benson is hungry. He has not won a NASCAR Winston Cup race yet. He's had some close calls. Nearly won the Daytona 500 a year ago. He wants one badly. They think they can make it on fuel that far. Wow.
In the 8 car, that's where I'd run, especially if you're talking about fuel mileage. You don't want to lead this thing. That's going to hurt your fuel mileage.
But you know what? If they look in their rearview mirrors, Tony Stewart is 0.7 of a second a lap faster, or was on the last lap, than both these two cars while they were side by side. They can't run that way for long.
Right, but he's also burning more fuel catching them.
Marty?
Well, now, Alan, I didn't say they were sure they could make it. I said they think they can make it. They're very close. James Ince said it's going to be very, very close. I just asked him, are you telling Johnny to conserve fuel? He said, no way, man.
Here goes Junior now. He's got the position. He's got the inside.
Had to give.
Yeah.
Trying the comeback move. New leader, Dale Jr. Benson to second. Tony Stewart closing in third. What about Jeff Gordon? He's back in 16th position.
Did you see Johnny Benson when he got behind the 8 car, went in that flat corner, and he got that arrow push, and the car just would not turn? And listen to the crowd go wild as Junior goes by.
Oh, trouble. Kurt Busch has lost his right front tire. Caution's out. And this changes everything.
Of course it does. Hey, be careful because he doesn't have any brakes. Does he? He does have brakes. I thought maybe that the brake rotor might be broken. It wasn't.
They get the pry bar out.
He did not hit the wall. Dave Burns.
But of course, Benny, they do get that pry bar out. Now they pry up the right side so that the crew can go to work on it. And they'll also check the front brake rotor and suspension components to make sure he didn't grind anything off. And now Kurt Busch, as he sits here on pit road, his tire, his right front, crosses the start-finish line right in front of Ward Burton as he flashes by.
Watch the tire. Don't need anybody to hit that.
Careful, guys. Nobody duck down on the inside now.
So the tire did not lose a lap. Correct?
No, that's right. Kurt Busch might have, but his tire didn't.
I don't think the tire carries the scoring transponder.
I think it's about as far as it's going to go, too.
That's going back across the racetrack towards the outside retaining wall.
Boy, it's good that everybody got through that.
That's going back across to the inside wall.
Watch it, Rick. Here it comes. Clear. Okay. And the work continues. On the Roush Ford for Kurt Busch. Well, Mr. Weber, this one sure turned upside down, hadn't it?
Well, this is why you watch from the very beginning, because you know the excitement builds and builds until you get right down to the end. You climb up on the war wagon where Michael McSwain, the crew chief for Ricky Rudd, hangs out, and you ask him, can you make it?
Oh, yeah. Fuel ain't a problem right now. We're worried about getting past those other 5 cars. We started out a little bit tight, tighter than we've been all day. I think it's cooled off some more. But the car's starting to come in now. I think we're going to be pretty good. We just got to get as many positions on that 24 as we can.
You took fuel only on the last stop. You like that set of tires.
Yeah, those tires, we've been just like last week. It's taken a couple laps for our tires to come in. So those, we had 3 laps on them already, green flag laps. So we elected to stay on those, hoping they'd come in good. And it looks like they might be going to come in right here.
How was your last stop when you did fuel only, Michael?
Yeah, it was okay. The guys had a little problem. We should have come out a couple of spots higher. But these guys gave me great pit stops all day long. I can't complain about one little boo-boo.
Because you worked on it all week again, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, every week.
All right, best of luck.
Thank you.
He got his first win as a crew chief right here at this track 41 days ago. Today he's trying to get his second.
There's going to be some guys coming in.
Well, so far they haven't.
How about Gordon?
Well, he made a move, but
nothing doing. Should he have?
You know, back where he is, he was back in the 17th position. You wonder, going for this Winston Cup Championship, he shouldn't have gone in and got some more gas in because he can't afford to run out. Man.
29 laps to go. Back for the restart at Pocono in a minute on TNT. Caution out for this.
Right front tire comes off of Kurt Busch's 97 car. There the tire goes, and there goes Kurt.
Here's the way things stand as we close in on the finish with 28 laps to go. Earnhardt Jr. with fuel only on his last stop. The man who took tires on the pit stop previous, Jeff Gordon, who's dominated this race, is way back in 15th position. The third player in the championship, besides Gordon and Ricky Rudd, who's running 6th, is Dale Jarrett. He was involved in not 1 but 2 crashes. He is in the garage, out of the race. He's going to finish 41st today. Matt.
Alan, during Jeff Gordon's last pit stop, You guys took on tires, everybody else gas and go. Do you second guess that call now, Robbie, because you're mired back in traffic?
No, we had a flat left rear. You know, we hate traffic, but we couldn't take a chance with that fuel and all that stuff. So we feel good about having 4 tires, 30 laps to go still. We'll see what happens.
Some debate, though, whether to come this time between yourself and Jeff Gordon. Why did you decide not to come? Because he says the car is still very tight.
He really hates that traffic, you know, when you get behind there. So we're just going to keep digging. There'll probably be another caution along here. These guys get pretty aggressive here towards the end.
They felt very fortunate when they stopped because they did not know that left rear tire was going down. They found it when they were checking the pressures.
That's actually a bit of good fortune that they made the call for the tires then. As they stand now, Gordon and Rudd 1 point apart if the race finishes as it is now. But we've seen all kinds of things in these last 50, 60 laps, and we've still got 28 more to go.
I can see this point championship being decided in Atlanta, that very final race of the year.
The final lap of the final race.
Yes.
It's going to be fun. Every step of the way, you'll see it on TNT and NBC. We're set to go back at it in Pocono. There'll be 27 laps to go. Quick check on pit road with Marty.
Alan, real quick, keep one thing in mind. Today, in the race today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not been good on the long runs. Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte, that has been their strength. And we have a pretty long run to finish this race. Just keep that in mind.
Green flag. Benson didn't get away good.
Tony Stewart right on Johnny Benson's bumper.
Robbie Gordon in the 31, subbing for Mike Skinner again this week. Here comes Joe Nemechek to his inside. Bobby going to challenge Tony ahead for 3rd spot. On the pace laps of today's event, he said he and Bobby would help each other. Whoever had the better car, the other would help. Was that a help, or did Bobby just drive past him?
Bobby just drove past him that time. I think they're going to have to run a few laps before we can determine who, in fact, has the better car, Tony Stewart or Bobby Labonte. Both the 20 and the 18 team cars of the Joe Gibbs operation.
Let's mention that they've taken Kurt Busch's car to the garage for further repairs after that wheel came off at speed.
There's Mike Wallace right in front of Tony Stewart.
Also, Hut Strickland has gone back to the garage. Problems on Judy Donlevy's car. Jeff Gordon's only gained 1 spot since the restart. He was 15th. He's moved up to 14th. Not a lot of progress. Time's running out.
That changes that 1 point. Right? 1 point in the championship.
John Andretti is off the pace somewhat. Report there may be some smoke coming out of his car. Keep an eye on it.
Tony uses all the racetrack when he comes off turn 2 or the tunnel corner. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now is pulling away. He has a 2.25 seconds on Johnny Benson. But Bobby Labonte's the guy he's got to worry about.
But remember, fuel is close on Dale Jr. Drama you could ask for in this one. It's the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. 24 laps to go at Pocono on TNT. Log on to NASCAR.com to play the AutoTrader.com Move of the Race sweepstakes. Your chance to win a $25,000 shopping spree on AutoTrader.com and other great prizes. 22 to go. In the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has opened up nearly a 2-second lead on Johnny Benson, who's trying to hold on to second. Bobby Labonte's pressuring him. And you've got Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott rounding out the top 5. Ricky Rudd is in 9th. Jeff Gordon is in 12th. Marty Snyder is with the owner of the 3rd and 4th place cars.
And Coach Joe Gibbs doing his best coaching job, and you guys are trying to catch Dale Earnhardt Jr. Can they get there, Coach?
Well, I don't know if we can or not. All I've been doing is holding my breath over here. I can tell you that. I am nervous.
That's the worst part, isn't it?
That's right. That's exactly right. Lord's blesses the 2 great teams. We'll see what happens here.
Hey, I got good news. Bobby just got 2nd.
Hey, that's great. I'm ready to go.
All right, he's ready to go because he's nervous and he's doing his best coaching job, although he can't really do much here on the sidelines.
Different role than when he was in football. Jimmy Makar is the coach now, and Greg Zipadelli, the coach for Tony Stewart. Joe gives him the resources and the players and has to stand back and see how they perform.
Just like Jack Kent Cook did with the Washington Redskins.
Bobby to 2nd. The interval 2.2 seconds. 21 laps to go. Now 20 to go.
I guess that I know some of these cars are going to make it on fuel. My guess is some of them are not. You are not, so I'm not worried. I'm not sure who that's going to be.
Think about all the things we've had happen in this race in the last hour or so. We've had the man who is leading the points by virtue of the tiebreaker coming into today's race, taken out on a crash, then crashes again and finished off for the day. That's Dale Jarrett. He's going to finish 41st. We've had Jeff Gordon choose his team to take 4 tires on a pit stop when everybody else on the lead lap about just got fuel. Fortunate for Gordon that they had the cut tire, and they would have needed it, but he's way back in 20-something, 23rd position when they restarted, and he's hung in traffic. Ricky Rudd's been one of the dominant players today. He's hung back in traffic in 9th spot, and you got the guy leading the race, may not have enough fuel to make it to the finish.
There, Jeff Gordon goes by and takes 2 spots. Well, I'm not too sure about the 17. He just can't quite make it, and Craven's coming back on the outside.
He's trying to get 12th from Kansas.
Ever see Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon? Ricky Rudd right now is almost 2 seconds in front of Jeff Gordon. And look at Kansas go through the tunnel corner side by side with Ricky Craven. And here comes the 1 car on the inside of Jeff Gordon trying to take away another spot.
Todd Bodine has retired his car from the race. The laps he lost earlier with the transmission problem, he can't gain any more positions by finishing the event. He is done. Kurt Busch and Hutch Strickland have just come back onto the track from the garage. Only Dale Jarrett, Kevin LePage, and Todd Bodine are out of it. Everybody else is on the track in the final laps. Watching the race for 12th, Kenseth, Craven, Gordon, Steve Park. The 7 car, the first one on the left of the frame, that's Mike Wallace. He's in 26th. He's the first car 2 laps down. Dave Blaney, 3rd car in the picture. You got Robert Presley and Ricky Rudd here racing for 8th and 9th, and Blaney running in 10th. Remember, way back early in the event, we talked about him losing a cylinder. It fixed itself.
Unbelievable. The car, all of a sudden, after the first pit stop, started running again. But he had gone from about 5th all the way back to about 25th or 30th before that first stop.
And here he comes, back through traffic. He's in the top 10. Good run for Blaney. That team's sponsor leaving them at the end of the season. They're looking for a replacement.
I'm told that during one of those pit stops, they raised the hood and a plug wire was off. They just put it back on. Then he had 8 cylinders, and he's good to go.
All right, that's a further updated report. We had heard the last report we got was that it had just sort of fixed itself. So that explains. Well, that's hard for an engine to fix itself. Our final commercial break of the race. Back for the exciting finish of the Pennsylvania 500 by Pep Boys. After this, will Dale Jr.'s fuel hold out?
Welcome back to Pocono Raceway, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads with under 15 laps to go in the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys. It wasn't that long ago, earlier this month, when Dale Earnhardt Jr. made his trip back to Victory Lane. It was a day and a night at Daytona that we will never forget. Jr. coming around to get the checkered flag, and then the celebration began. Winning at the track where his father lost his life earlier this year. The big celebration in the same spot in the infield grass. Met by Michael Waltrip and Gasman Chocolate Myers. Youthful enthusiasm and tremendous talent. That's what Dale Earnhardt Jr. brings to NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Now he hopes to take that talent and his team to victory lane at Pocono. Alan?
If he looks in the rearview mirror, Bill, Bobby Labonte's Pontiac is looming a little bit larger.
There we see Bobby Labonte 2 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the 93 car of Blaney gets by Ricky Rudd, takes a spot away.
9th place for Dave Blaney. What has been so amazing to me is the reversal of fortunes of Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd. These are the two guys that led the most laps in this race. Gordon has led 121 laps. But after getting back in traffic, he has been able to go nowhere.
He must be struggling with a big aero push with that car. It's the only thing I can think of, because he was so fast, so much faster than everybody else when he was out front. But see right here, he can't even move up on the back of those cars, because I don't think his car can turn when he gets close to the 32 car.
The 17 and 32 of the 17, Matt Kenseth, the 32, Ricky Craven, they have just simply driven away from Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon is back in 14th spot, Matt.
Alan, we talked about it during the caution. Gordon has been fighting tight over this past run, and they debated about pitting to try to fix that condition, but he didn't want to give up track position. He's had such a difficult time going through traffic. He's mired back in 14th right now. He's lost 2 positions. He says, yes, indeed, he does have an aero push. He does get a worse condition. He has gained 1 position back, but he does have that aero push when he tucks up behind the car in front of him.
That's 13th place for Gordon. And Blaney and Rudd going to tag team Robert Presley for 8th.
Well, that can really get that inside car loose when it comes off that corner with a car on the outside of him. And Rudd had to back off just a little bit and feathered. And looked like the 77 of Presley was going to come back. But now Rudd, again, assumes the position in front of Robert Presley. Jimmy Spencer, that 26 car, was making a good run. He was back there with Jeff Gordon a few minutes ago.
See here where Jimmy chooses to go the 77, which is surprising, really, because the inside lane is really the lane you want to be in side by side in turn 2.
Presley driving in on the outside of turn 2, the tunnel corner.
And Rudd's just got to be more conservative than Presley does at this point, championship-wise. It's just got to be.
Oh, Spencer comes down, almost gets on the inside of Ricky Rudd. Here you go, 3 wide. Watch Spencer get out on the inside.
Rudd to block.
See, now they'll draft by the 77 car. That was the best thing Jimmy could do.
All this again for 9th spot.
I'll tell you what, 77 is pretty strong out there.
He is strong.
Things been coming around for that team.
Oh, Jimmy gets up, going to push to 77 now.
All that side-by-side racing has kind of made a little bit of a blob there in traffic. Gordon going to get into the middle of this.
He's on the inside of the 17 car. Kenseth trying to take the spot away. Jimmy Spencer trying to get by the 28 of Rudd.
We're inside the final 10 laps. In the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Hang on, Gordon.
Jeff had that big slide going in the flat corner.
Rudd too. Oh, contact, Rudd and Spencer. They just brushed together. It looked like off the corner.
And the 28 lost the air on the nose here, and he just slid up right into the 26 car. Not very hard, though.
Smoke we've been seeing most of the day from Rudd when he steps on the brakes and the nose bodywork of the machine dives down into turn 1.
Actually, it's the right front tire is hitting the fender well.
Let's go back and take another look at Rudd and Spencer off turn 3.
Right here, Ricky's already tight. Loses the air on the nose. Well, I don't know there. That's already happened, but
he almost got into the side of the 26 car.
I say he did. Very likely. Look at the gap. Bobby Labonte is closing in on Dale Jr. It was 2 seconds 5 laps ago. It's 1.2 now. Marty?
And what we talked about earlier, Alan, is starting to come to fruition on the racetrack. At the beginning of this run, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was 1/10 of a second faster than Bobby Labonte. Now that has reversed. Bobby Labonte is now 1/10 of a second faster each lap than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Neither driver saying a word on the radio.
He needs a lot more than 1/10 of a second with 8 to go and a 1.2 second deficit.
And you can see as Bobby Labonte gets closer to Dale Earnhardt Jr., picks up that drag, gets closer and closer. But Jr. got a great corner off 3 that time, put some distance on Labonte.
And still the question, does Jr. have enough fuel to go to the finish?
It's amazing that Steve Meal and those guys could go to Kentucky Speedway and try to figure out what to do to these cars. Richie Gilmore, the engine builder, told me they went up there, they worked on it for 2 days, trying to get some fuel mileage. Last time here, they could only run 30 laps. This time, they hope to run, what, 39?
You see Bobby picked up 2/10 that lap. It's down to an even second. 7 to go.
And catching and passing are 2 different things, too.
Yeah, we've seen just how difficult it is when you get behind someone, you can't get that air on the car.
You see the gap closing slowly but steadily. Miles to go. 6 laps. This is for 4th place. Bill Elliott and Johnny Benson. Elliott trying to take it away.
Tell you what, Rusty Wallace back there has had a great comeback. Back there most of the day, around 15th or 20th. Right now, he's right in front of Mark Martin in 6th position. So Robin and the guys have done a terrific job.
And remember, Benson was marginal on fuel. Johnny Benson's best career finish here at Pocono is a 5th place run back in 1996, his rookie season. This would better that if he can hold off Elliott and if the fuel holds out.
You know, you never really pay attention to your fuel pressure gauge, Benny. As a driver, I mean, you don't really pay that much attention. At least amount. I mean, when you're out there running, you look at your water and your oil pressure, but you really don't pay attention to fuel pressure. But now everybody is looking at their fuel pressure gauge at least 20 times a lap.
Ricky Rudd, Jimmy Spencer, Jeff Gordon.
10th, 11th, and 12th. They've all moved up a spot.
Robert Presley's driven away from Ricky Rudd.
Now we're inside the final 5 laps. Now we begin to wait and watch and see if people begin to fall off the pace. If the fuel tanks run dry. Just because the tank's got a gallon of fuel in it doesn't mean you can pick it all up and get it into the system. And look at this. Bobby is there. 4 car lengths back. 4 laps to go.
And that time was the fastest, was much faster than Junior. As a matter of fact, was the fastest car.
Here he is looking low. Does he pick up the dreaded arrow push or can he make the move and cut underneath? Long pond stretch headed for turn 2.
Past the 10 by faking high and going low.
Joe Gibbs watching.
You heard Ty Norris tell Dale Earnhardt Jr. he passed the 10 by faking high and going low. Junior gets a little bobble up there, gives Bobby Labonte a run on him.
You're all clear. You can see him letting you. You can see him letting you get the corner a little harder over there too. Free to go.
The double whammy for Junior. He's got to keep Bobby Labonte behind him. He's got to make sure the fuel holds up.
This is the Achilles heel for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got to run high. He has been all day. His car doesn't work on the bottom. Bobby Labonte will probably use that to try to pass Junior before this thing's over.
There's Tony Urey, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s crew chief. There aren't going to be any fingernails left as he worries about the fuel.
And Bobby's got to be real careful right here, because if the 8 car runs out of fuel, you're all over the back of him. You may not have time to get.
Oh, here he goes. Junior ducks low. Labonte's got the outside lane as they head for turn 3.
Dale Jr. struggling off that tunnel corner over there. He got loose that time.
Bobby's got the run to the outside. They squeeze. Labonte takes the lead. 2 laps to go. Labonte tries to crowd Junior low to turn 1. Dale has the inside line.
Still there. They're high. Side, outside.
Oh! He squeezed up somehow in front of Bobby Labonte.
Clear. Inside.
Blocking, ducking, diving. Junior's got the preferred inside line to this corner. But Labonte's by.
Wow.
Incredible racing in the final laps here at Pocono. Bobby Labonte to the point, the first time he's led all day. Gordon passing Rudd. That's for 10th. And championship points. White flag. Final lap for Bobby Labonte. We'll see who makes it on fuel. We'll see if anybody runs out. 2 miles to go.
The Joe Gibbs cars, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, they've always gotten great fuel mileage.
Dave Blaney's on pit road for fuel on the final lap. And speeding. He'll get held for 15 seconds. Second corner, half a lap to go. Bobby Labonte, the defending NASCAR Winston Cup champion, has not had a very good year. His best finish, 1 second place run in the second race of the season. He started today's race in the 11th spot. He passes Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 2 laps to go, and Bobby Labonte wins the Pennsylvania 500. Side by side, Benson and Elliott. Elliott gets 4th.
And Jeff Gordon will get by the 77 car on Robert Presley and take the 8th position.
1 car's gone up in smoke on the final lap. It's John Andretti's machine. He's going to bring it back around to the checkered flag. Not a bad day for Joe Gibbs Racing, 1st and 3rd.
And incredibly, all these cars made it on fuel.
Nobody ran out. Blaney came down and topped off. That was it.
Like we talked earlier, the guys that dominated this race. Normally, I mean, how many laps did Bobby? He led what? 2 or 3 laps?
Yeah, 4.
4 laps.
Yep. 4 laps all day. Looked like Jeff Gordon's day for much of the afternoon. He's going to finish back in 8th. Bobby Labonte has won the Pennsylvania 500. Bobby Labonte is the winner of today's Pennsylvania 500 Pontiac Grand Prix. Congratulates Bobby and the Wide Track Attack team on another win. Wider is better. Let's go to victory lane, Bill.
Well, Bobby Labonte has made the lap, pulled into victory lane, and now climbs out to celebrate his first win as Winston Cup champion. Big smile, lots of cheers. I bet you're glad this isn't the Pennsylvania 495.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, it was good God, that was pretty tough there at the end. Our car was great all day on long runs, it seemed like, and these guys in the Interstate Batteries Pontiac, MBNA, Circuit City, all these guys, all our sponsors, Joe Gibbs. We've had a tough season, and you know, we just kept getting better and better. And yesterday, I actually saw a little light at the end of the tunnel for the first time all year. So this is a great day for us, and outrunning Junior there at the end. I didn't want to. You don't want to beat some people sometimes when they have such a good car. And he had a great car all day long, and you know, there at the end, we just battled back and forth, outside, inside, and just tried to find the right line. But these guys did a great job again. You know, just went back to a great team effort, great race car in this Interstate Batteries Pontiac.
Tell me about roping him in, Bobby, and then the battle when you finally took the lead.
Well, I mean, you know, it was, like I said, our car was so great on long runs, and, you know, we never gave up that much. So the big thing was, you know, we had 20 laps to go there after that restart, and then we just hammered down and got by Tony there and got by the 10 car. And what we're doing there is at the end is just hanging out there, saving our stuff. And then when we got to the end, his car gave up a little bit. And my car, again, stayed the same. So just a great team effort, great race car.
We talked yesterday. Some people had you guys buried for the rest of this season, but you had never had your confidence shaken.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my confidence was out, you know. But, again, it goes back to team effort. Dale Jr. had a great race car, and these guys never gave up on it. So, and that was the big thing.
Next week, Indianapolis.
Another great place. We tested like crud up there, but you know, the best thing was we always test like crud up there.
And your family's here too, his wife Donna and Tyler and the whole family. Congratulations.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you, appreciate it.
So Bobby Labonte, victory lane here in the Pennsylvania 500. A lot of folks down here.
Yeah, and Bobby is the defending champion of the Brickyard 400 next weekend. Look at the crowd. Let's take a look at Bobby's winning pass on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Off that flag corner, and folks, it was close. Junior tried to get him up, almost touched as he come down to the line.
Left the
Bobby
donut.
Labonte takes the lead.
Left the donut on the side of the 18 car. Here's the winning move. Got alongside him coming off of turn 1.
He drove it down into turn 2. I'm proud of Bobby on that one. That's a hard pass to make. On the outside, pulled it off. Wow.
Bobby Labonte celebrating the Pennsylvania 500 by Pep Boys victory. More post-race coverage in a minute. First win of 2001 for NASCAR Winston Cup champion Bobby Labonte as we look at the top of the leaderboard in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Johnny Benson, 5th place effort. Jeff Gordon came back for 8th. And that final sprint to the finish, while his title rival Ricky Rudd wound up in the 11th position, and Dale Jarrett finished 41st. Matt Yoakum.
Alan, unofficially, Jeff Gordon will take a 45-point lead in Indianapolis, a racetrack where you've had a lot of success, but how disappointing to have a car so good here and yet not put it in victory lane.
It's disappointing, you know, because we did have a strong car, but I think it just shows how competitive this sport is. You know, you can't just have the best car. You can't just have the best pit stops. You got to have everything go your way, and unfortunately the cautions didn't fall right for us, you know, and we got behind, and you know, we weren't the best on fuel mileage today, so that wasn't going to be our strategy. So we just tried to run as fast and hard as we could. But what an awesome race car, what an awesome race team, man. I'm so proud to be driving for this DuPont team and the way they're preparing race cars right now. So that's got me excited about going to Indianapolis. We did what we need to do in the points race, but we wanted to win. Maybe we can take this momentum of such a good run and take it into Indianapolis.
He's picked up some momentum. Maybe he'll pick up his 3rd Brickyard 400 win next week. Marty?
Well, Matt, wow, what a finish. Dale Earnhardt Jr., did you think you could hold off Bobby Labonte? You knew he was better than you on the longer runs.
Well, I thought we could hold him off there, being out front and having clean air, but he came on the last 10 laps and my car got tight. I tried to block him, but he wouldn't let me do that. So he had a better car, and he definitely deserved the win at the end. I mean, we did all we could. I was kind of disappointed, but about 50 laps before that, I'd have done anything for a top 3. So I'm pretty happy sitting where we're sitting in 2nd place. We gained a lot of points, and we're moving that Budweiser Chevrolet up closer every week.
How close was the fuel? They ran out in turn 3, coming to the checkered flag. Let's go to Dave Burns.
And standing by with Tony Stewart, who finished 3rd. Tony, pretty good momentum the last couple weeks here.
Yeah, really. The Home Depot team did a great job, and Bobby and all the Interstate Batteries guys did a great job today. And it was just a good run. You know, we didn't really feel like we were that strong at the beginning of the race, but you know, the guys in the pits did a great job today. And you know, my hat's off to my guys at the motor room. We've been struggling the last month or two, and they've really worked hard. And I missed a couple shifts today and ran the thing up to 10 grand, and it lived all day. So my hats are off to those guys. And we want to say hi to Sammy Swindell and Davey Hamilton, who are still in the hospital too, and we're thinking about you guys to get well soon.
All right, thanks, Tony. Let's go back upstairs to Alan.
3rd place finish for Tony Stewart today. Bobby Labonte, pretty cool move on Dale Earnhardt Jr. to score the win in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Wow. Our Weber's War Wagon poll asking you who you thought would win today's Pennsylvania 500. Bobby Labonte with 4% of the vote. He turned out to be the man. Jeff Gordon was a good-looking candidate for a while. He led 121 of the 200 laps, but he wound up finishing in 8th position.
So you 4%, pat yourself on the back. You were exactly right.
Championship standings. Dale Jarrett falling from a tie with Jeff Gordon to 107 points down. Finished 41st after the crash he was involved in today.
Jarrett needed the trunk coming off turn 3. He might have been able to finish.
Final results from the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Labonte's first win of the year. Top 10 for Robert Presley, and Ricky Craven snuck in there as well for the top 10. There you see on the lead lap all of these cars. 22nd place, Dave Blaney was the final car on the lead lap after that late splash of fuel he needed.
And all these fellas back here, and most of these fellas had some kind of trouble.
Yeah, spent some time behind the wall. And Dale Jarrett, we talked about it at the very top of our show. Perils from being back in traffic from his 37th place qualifying run. He found out the hard way. There were perils. Next week, it's on to Indianapolis for the Brickyard 400. Bud Pole qualifying is Saturday, 11 Eastern Time. Happy hour on CNN Sports Illustrated, plus the Busch Series race on TNT Saturday night. Then next Sunday, the 8th running of the Brickyard 400. It's on NBC at 2 Eastern Time. We can't wait. Shawshank Redemption is next on TNT. Benny can't wait for that. 4 stars. Wild day here at Pocono. Crashes in the opening laps. Jeff Gordon dominated. Great pit work by teams to get their drivers track position. Turning moment in the championship for Dale Jarrett as well. In the end, it was Bobby Labonte who scored the win in the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys.